Hello and welcome to Vtuber Talk. I'm your host Jay and thank you so much for joining us this evening. For those of you who haven't been here before, Vtuber Talk is designed after classic late night talk shows. Everything here is live, casual, and the goal is to simply have fun conversations that will entertain people who are already familiar with the guest while still being accessible to new fans. Please welcome my guest for this evening, HYPA.
Hi everyone, nice to see you. My name's HYPA. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. So happy to have you here. This is actually my first show back after my 4th anniversary charity marathon, and I'm really excited to have you as a start. Ooh, speaking of things from the charity marathon, I still have the chat box over in the place where I had it during the marathon. So let's move that back to where it should be. There we go. Yeah. But yes, so Vox, for folks who might not be familiar with you, if you could introduce yourself.
Alright then. Hi everyone, my name is HYPA. I'm an Australian electric VTuber from the Down Under. Nice to meet you. I am a 3D modeler, artist, animator, etc. Many names. Self-taught in most regards as well. I made my own model. I do most of my own artwork. I'm a professional goober and gremlin and scuff queen.
Yes, indeed, and definitely high voltage here in the studio this evening, so please don't mind any short-circuiting. I'm sure everything will be just fine. But Vox, like you mentioned, you are an artist and that you have done not only different illustrations over the years, but that you designed your own model. So I kind of want to rewind a bit and go to the beginning. Do you remember when you first got into art?
Oh, I mean, look, I've been drawing since I could pick up a pencil. I've always been the art kid ever since I was little. Funny story, I used to be both-handed, right and left-handed,
but
apparently, apparently my grandparents fixed that.
Nice.
But now I'm right-handed. But yeah, ever since I was little, I've just been drawing. I was always the kid in school that was just drawing all the time, and I was kind of like known as being like the go-to person for things. Like if we had a project in school where like we had to do any kind of drawing or artwork or anything, the kids were like, "Hey, Vox, can you do mine?"
Or just everybody, whenever it's a group project and it's assigned, it's like, "Oh, thank goodness we got Vox. The art's all set."
Yeah, pretty much. And then when I got into high school, I was kind of a menace when it came to my drawing, to the point where my teachers got so sick of it, because I would like draw like in class all the time, like just hyper focus on that. And then it would be all over my school books, all over my school journal and everything. And they got so sick of it that they pulled me aside and they're like, "All right, this is going to stop. But we know we can't stop you. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to give you this book, and you're going to draw in this book only and not draw in any of your school books."
Now, when you say this book, was this another copy of a school textbook or was it a blank notebook?
It was just like your standard lined book they use for school in Australia, like your standard like lined
All right,
book,
I wasn't sure if it was going to be to the point where, all right, we have this old chemistry book. It's old and torn and like 2 editions out of date. You can just draw in this instead.
We grabbed this from the school archives. Legend says every year the new drawing gets added by a student.
That would actually be really cool, just having that sort of art time capsule being passed down. But at the same time, I'm glad that your teachers were, frankly, thoughtful and open enough to take the approach of, all right, we know we're not going to stop this and we're not going to try to. We will just try to keep it moderately maintained. I think that is a very healthy and still supportive way to approach it, and I know that not all schools are going to take that approach.
I mean, they did try. I got scolded quite a bit, but it got to the point where they're just like, "All right,
this
isn't working." They gave up.
Well, good on
I
you
don't know, I couldn't
for
focus
winning
in
that little
class
fight.
at all. Oh yeah. I mean, look, it's kind of a shame though, because I would do like really pretty titles, and like in the books they would have this thing called a margin, like the ruler margin thing on the side. It was like this long line at the side, and they used to like fill that in with like drawings and stuff, and I thought it would look nice. Like, I'll do my schoolwork, but I'll at least make it look pretty. What's the problem?
Yeah. And, you know, as long as you're getting the work done, who cares if you're getting this other stuff done in addition to it? If anything, it's a benefit for the teachers that they're reading all these essays and now they get one with illustrations. This is entertainment.
Exactly. There's a reason I had A+ in art, honestly. They should have been happy.
Growing up, did you have a particular... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Although if it was math, then that was another story.
Did you have a particular medium that was your favorite to work with, whether it be pencils, paint, digital? Was there anything that you found yourself really gravitating towards early on?
Oh, sir. Honestly, I've kind of like bounced between mediums, I'm not gonna lie. So, of course, when I was younger, it was crayons and pencils and textures and whatever you could get your hands on, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, like I would always get art kits and like the Montardi paint kits as well. I get like canvases, and eventually I had a phase where I was doing a lot of painting, and I used to paint a lot of like those kind of seascapes, landscapes kind of thing, which was like a big phase of mine. And like there was a point where one of my parents' IRL friends, they had like this palm tree out the front of their house that would drop these giant like spoon-looking things. I don't even know what to call them, but it looked like a wooden spoon kind of thing. But it was like something from the tree, and he would ask me to like paint them for him for his house.
Huh. I'm trying to think of... I don't know if that's something that's native to North America, that shaped like spoons. I've never... Even just some goblins in the chat. Ah, yes, the classic spoon tree?
Yeah, the classic spoon tree. Yeah. No, I think it was like part of the like the tree like sheds itself every now and then, I think. And it like just, you know, like leaves falling off. It was like, it wasn't a leaf, but it was like part of the tree that would just fall off every now and then. I'm pretty sure.
Now I feel like I need to look that up. Oh, seed
pods?
Maybe. That would make sense, yeah.
It was pretty big.
And at what point did you end up discovering 3D?
Oh, sure. My journey with 3D starts with Hatsune Miku.
Ah.
So, you know, this came to a point where, like, I was starting to get into Miku. I found her through... Well, she was my Google Chrome theme, and I didn't know who she was at the time. And so I ended up looking up, like, on Google, blue-haired pigtail anime girl. And it took a bit because there was other blue-haired pigtail girls. But then I finally found a picture of Miku from a YouTube thumbnail, which kind of, like, took me down the rabbit hole a bit, because MMD is what got me into 3D, and MMD videos especially were Vocaloid. Because the software itself was made originally so you could make like animations with Vocaloid. The original version of MMD actually came with like a Miku model that would preload in, and then eventually it just came with like the rest of the characters with a model from the artist called Animasa, which they're a bit clunky looking, but I mean they get the job done as terms of like learning the program. So I found like a bunch of videos. One of them I have given to you, and it just got me super curious because I was like, wow, this is like really freaking cool. How are these people doing this? I want to do this too. I want to make these cool animations. Eventually found out what the software name was called, and like this is the worst part. I was in high school in class when I was looking this up, like not focusing on my schoolwork at all.
Now, was this
and I was
while you were like in a computer lab, or were you just sort of using your phone under the desk and just like, since I can do this right now?
This was in the computer lab. Yep. We had schoolwork on USBs, and me and my friends would have this really bad habit of like downloading pictures and stuff of like anime and whatever during class. And I was like, I was on the website for MMD, just like downloading all the files because I didn't have internet at home. I had no internet at home.
Wait a minute.
So
So
the
you were
only time I could
downloading this
ever like,
onto a school computer.
I was downloading onto a USB I had plugged into the school computer.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, it wasn't even a USB. It was a Walkman.
I forgot that there was an era where Walkman had like memory drives. When I hear Walkman, I just think of CD players. So I had a moment where and it was like, what? How does that?
Yeah, I mean, it was highly appropriate considering it was like Hatsune Miku stuff, I guess. But like, yeah, no, I used that as my USB. I had downloaded everything to that, and then I would take it home and I would like install it on my computer because obviously, like, I couldn't do it at home since no internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
modern
the
problems
whole
call
rabbit
for modern
hole.
solutions. Well played.
Exactly. I will take advantage, and I would get a lot of anime this way as well. Much to my teacher's dismay. Bringing laptops to the school was probably the worst idea they've ever done.
It's one of those things where I look at it and say, it was inevitable of just how technology is going that kids should be learning how to use computers in school. Frankly, I think it should be taught more than it is right now. But at the same time, yes, I feel like folks who are our age sort of grew up in, I don't even necessarily want to call it a golden era, but just perhaps the Wild West of technology education is the proper term, where you're probably not able to get away with stuff like that nowadays. That even when I was in high school, they were starting to have the early functionality of website blocking and making it so, whether it was YouTube or certain things that you couldn't get to, that they were able to somewhat limit your access to try and keep you on task. But inevitably, we would just find other sites that weren't blocked.
See, they did eventually start blocking websites because, like, students were, of course, going on websites and doing this and that and the other. My horror was when this was actually the same moment when I was downloading shit in class. So the teachers are able to like wire into your computer and like control your mouse.
See your screen.
So like I'm just sitting there minding my own business, and all of a sudden my mouse starts moving on its own, and I'm like, oh no,
we're caught.
Oh no, oh no. And I turn around and my teacher's just deadpan staring at me like,
I'm just like,
he's just like, get back to work.
Hi, Miss Teacher. I'm gonna get back to work now. Okay, thanks.
He like closed all the tabs that I was looking at, and he was like, back to work. But I got more stealthy after that. I was a lot more careful in my endeavors of getting MMD stuff in class.
That's when you learn to have multiple windows, so if they come over and look at your tabs, yes, all the tabs are completely relevant to whatever we are doing in class on this set of windows.
Luckily, when they brought in laptops, they couldn't really do that anymore. So, like, you're a bit more safe in that regard. But yeah, in terms of when I learned 3D, though, like in making the models and whatnot, so, at this point, I had been using MMD for a while, and I'd been using the models that were available through multiple sources online. But I was like, I want to, because I've seen other people making their own models and like 3D modeling them, or like, putting them together through assets online. And I'm like, I want to do that too. I want to be able to make my own version of things. So I downloaded, because I have some friends who was also into this, and they told me to use this software, which I still use today, despite it being extremely outdated compared to what most people probably use for VTubing these days. I got told to use this program called Metasequoia, which is something that probably no one in the chat has ever heard of.
Even I don't know one that offhand. How do you spell that?
Oh, METSEQ. Voya. It's named after a tree, a Metasequoia tree. It's interesting. Most people just call it Meta or Metaseq, which is what it usually goes by on the app as well.
Metasec.net.
Yeah. It's just it's a basic art program, really. Like, it's not anything complex like Blender or anything, but it gets the job done. I probably wouldn't recommend it for making VTuber models these days. Like, honestly, other programs are way better, but it is like a really like basic program. I think Akuda makes stuff in that program. I'm pretty sure they do. They are known as a modeler for VTubers these days. Pretty sure they did Techie Cutie's model, if I recall.
Now that I think about it, in terms of, you know, your models aren't similar, but the broader style that you have a more poppy, not quite conventional cartoony, but also not conventional anime style. So I actually see that. I wonder if that's in part because of the tools that it lends itself to that style.
Oh, no. This is simply just because this is like my preference. Like, it really starts off as like, you know, a cube, a sphere. You know, my first ever model I made in that program was just an amalgamation of triangles.
Well, technically everything is made of polygons.
Yeah. I mean, it was my creation. It was beautiful. My son. But no, that was me just trying to like learn what everything in the program did. And then I started off making parts for a model. So like I started by learning how to make a skirt, and then I tried to learn how to make shoes and props, like, you know, like the sword from Zelda or something. And eventually kind of moved on to trying to learn how to do bodies and, you know, everything you see here. And it's a process, and 3D models are actually really difficult, I learned. And knowing proper topology and how to make that work, like, it makes my brain go kind of like, meh. So my philosophy when it comes to 3D modeling is, if it works, it works. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be by the book. If it works, if it looks good, that's fine.
If you got to the end, the means don't matter.
Exactly.
Now, art is pretty different from character design. Had you done character design at all prior to making models?
I mean, I've kind of always been drawing characters since I was little, I suppose. I was actually studying to be a character design artist, but of course, it's a very competitive job to get into, let me tell you.
Yes, it is.
It really is. And I just decided to focus on my own stuff for a while, and then VTubing came along, and I was like, wow, cool! I'm gonna do this now. Because VTubing was this really cool thing where I could literally take what I've been doing for years, and I mean years, since like 2011, and then make content with it in this way. I can become my 3D model, I can become my drawings, and that's pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you know, it's one thing to animate and see your animations come to life, but to actually become the character itself, that's something that's like really special, especially if you made it like from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've
it's a really great way to like put the skills to use.
You've had a couple iterations on your own design over the years that you actually just recently debuted. I forget the exact term you used. Was it
second voltage?
Second voltage, yes. And that I want more debuts to have badass terms like that. Like, it makes me think of, you know, that sounds like something out of Dragon Ball Z. Of this is my second voltage form.
Vegeta, what's the power level?
It's over 9,000 kilowatts.
She's at second voltage. I actually grew up on Dragon Ball Z. That's really funny. But yeah, no, I thought the name was appropriate. Like, and I know a lot of people, they just debut, like, they say 2.0 and all that. But I was like, second voltage just sounded cooler in my mind. And then I actually gave the name First Voltage to my first model, because it took me like this long to actually go to a second version. Because all the other models I've had have been like costumes and outfits, but they haven't really been a new upgraded model. Like this one is fully upgraded. The face, I liked my face, so I kind of kept it as it was with some adjustments. Like I fixed up my eye texture, I fixed up my facial textures, I adjusted some blend shapes, I redid my bandage as well. But aside from that, like the face pretty much stayed because I really liked how it was. But I redid my body, I redid my hands. I got chunky hands now that look much better. I redid my hair, like everything was just completely redone. The goal for the second voltage was actually just to add more color to the model. I felt like my first model, like, don't get me wrong, I love my first model, and a lot of people did, and I was really happy about how many people actually liked my model. But I felt like it lacked color, because a lot of it was black and white. It felt like the only color in my model was my hair, and I'm someone who likes a lot of color. I like to pop, and you know, I wanted to add a bit more vibrancy to my model, which is why I now have like all the pinks and the purples and more yellows everywhere. And I tried to add in some more unique details as well. Like my choker, for example, it's my special version of a high voltage logo.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got like my little power belt thing going on. I have these sleeves. These sleeves took me a while to figure out because I couldn't. I love them. They're like see-through. It's so cool. But it took me so long to figure it out. And I was like asking my friends, like, I cannot figure out how to get these sleeves to work because I was going through so many iterations. And all the iterations kept clashing or just weren't hitting it for me. And then eventually, because like the way my process works is when I have an idea, I whip out MS Paint and start drawing on MS Paint. Or like I'll have a picture of my model's progress and then I'll draw over it in MS Paint and like see how it looks before I actually 3D model it.
And I'm no artist,
eventually...
so this is sort of speculation on my part, but I feel like that's a practical way to go about things. You know, it's the modern quote-unquote version of sketchbooking that you have an idea and it's okay, I'm gonna not necessarily go and paint it in acrylics right away. I'm gonna draw a little doodle in a notebook for it and see how that looks and go from there.
Well, see, the reason why I whip out MS Paint, and I know it's like not the best program to use, is because I like to call this goldfish syndrome, where I have a thought in my brain, and if I don't lock on and actually write it down or like draw it down, it's gone. And if I got up to like find a sketchbook or whip out my tablet and whatever, by the time I probably got to draw it, it would have probably gone poof in my brain. And I hate when that happens. So MS Paint's usually like, it's right there in front of me because I'm usually on my PC. I have it pinned to my taskbar, so I whip it out, I instantly draw whatever I'm thinking of. Or like if I'm on my phone, I have Autodesk on my phone, so I would like do a finger sketch of something. Because like it's better to have a really dodgy sketch of an idea than to completely forget it, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Because then at least you know where you were going with it mentally, and that if you have even the sliver of the memory that you can usually extrapolate from there. Oh yeah, I was also thinking this, that, the other. But it's one of those things where if you've forgotten something and you remember you've forgotten it, that still doesn't help you remember what you've forgotten.
That's true, exactly. And it's like, so many great ideas in my brain have been just eliminated this way, and we can't have that. We can't have that. I'm also sending you my concept art for my first model. It is another dodgy MS Paint sketch, but that is how the first model was created.
Yeah, let me just get this down real quick. But honestly, Yathna Indie in chat says Vox's MS Paint skills are not to be underestimated, and I definitely believe it. That if this was done in Paint, I feel like that's another part of the proof of concept. If you can make it look good in Paint, it's going to look incredible when done in a more complex tool.
I mean, MS Paint's actually really versatile. Like, I've been able to... I mean, that sketch, of course, is like a really rough one. But if I actually sat down... And people have watched me on stream do this, so they know. Like, I drew myself riding on top of a shark with a laser on its head at one point. If you actually sit down in MS Paint and properly try to, like, draw things out, you can end up with, like, a really cool, like just as good as Photoshop art style, honestly. Like, the way you can use MS Paint should not be underestimated. Yeah, it's a bit more difficult, it's a bit more clunky, but the end of the day, you can make some cool stuff with it.
Mm-mm.
I used to make little animations with MS Paint because I had MS Paint and Windows Movie Maker, and I wanted to learn how to do 2D art, and I'm still wanting to learn how to do that. I just don't have the resources for it at the moment. But I would like make like kind of stop motion stick figures with MS Paint, and then I put them into Movie Maker to try and animate them, and it was super scuffed because of course like you can't check layers, you can't check position of things, but somehow I made it work, and I was really proud of myself.
I feel like that's the origin story of a lot of people who've become very good at art. That they spent their days in school sketching in notebooks, and that they start either in MS Paint or Movie Maker or other sort of introductory programs, get really good at it, and just go from there.
Yeah, and like everyone starts somewhere. Like people kind of, I think this is a thing these days where people, especially in VTubing, they see like all these amazing artists, right? And they don't realize just how many years these artists have under their belt to get where they are. So a lot of people are just like, oh man, my art's not as good as theirs. That sucks. But then, like, when did you start drawing? What origin story do you have? Like, everyone had something. Like, you never know how long those people have been working to get that far. Like, I mean, I've been drawing for years, and there are people better than me, but like, I'm still proud of where I am with art and stuff. And like, mind you, that's like me versus people who probably tried to like hone their craft every single day on like their tablets and stuff, learning new techniques and whatever. Probably got like art school or they were studying, depends.
I feel like it's more common knowledge now than it used to be, but especially in some of the earlier years, even as far recent like as 2021, 2022, since VTubing is such an amalgamation of other forms of art and content creation, that you would see people, quote unquote, appear and be very big, and that if you weren't familiar with their work and they were somebody who was open about their work or had become a VTuber after doing other forms of content now under the same name, that you could look back and be like, oh, this person streamed for a decade. This person has been doing music videos and animations since 2007. This person has been super active in I'm blanking on the name of there goes the term, the not Annie-song community, but the
Utate community?
Utate, thank you. Yes.
Utate? Yeah.
Like, this person's been in the Utate community for 8 years or something, and you realize these people have, like you were saying, all these types of skills, all these years of experience. They didn't just get this good overnight. They didn't just suddenly spawn into existence as a VTuber and have all this ability. It's been there, and it's been worked on for very, very, very long time.
Yeah, like you've got so many big names who've like been around for ages. Like Amelie, for example, she's been around for so long right now,
what
and
a
like
cool
no wonder she's like where she is. It's like no wonder some of these people have gotten where they are in VTubing, because they were already working their butts off before VTubing, and they came in. All they did was put on the avatar. They are still these amazing creators who have been working their butts off to get where they are.
Yeah.
And a lot more people, like I know a lot of people, they start with VTubing, like literally just start because they have never made content creation before, and then they see these creators who have made it to like a place they want to be, but they haven't seen the journey that it took to get there.
And also, they're just sort of starting on hard mode. I forget who it was that said, VTubing is just content creation with extra steps. It's just everything but more difficult. More points of potential functional failure, more hard drive space required, more skills necessary, and that's why conventional wisdom has finally properly, in my opinion, evolved to start with PNG tubing, or don't start necessarily with a proprietary model. Use a stock model and experiment a bit with that before getting your own, because there's so much going on here that if you're actually starting from zero with no experience, not only is it going to give you, frankly, poor points of comparison, but also it's just a lot to handle. You're taking on everything at once.
it's like you gotta make sure like there's no scuff, but there's going to be scuff because that's how technology works. Just like before we started with my camera being a pain in the butt, you know.
Yep.
But like I think that's the magic of VTubing, because when you think about it, we have a medium that we can literally, like, if you can make it happen, it's possible. Like any type of VTuber you want to be, you can be it. And there's so much. It's not even just being the avatar. It's like there is just so much room for creative stuff we can do with it. Like, for example, one VTuber I was watching last night, they're a PNG tuber, but their overlay was as if they were in a video game. Because, like, when they had their starting soon screen, right? You know, it was a loading bar, starting soon. And then when the loading bar finished, it said, you know, when a video game, it's like press enter to start. But instead, it was type start in the chat to begin. So it was like interactive with their chat, and they could like start the game essentially. And then they had like a health bar, they had like a food bar, energy bar, etc. If they got bonked by their redeem, they actually lost health. Like,
and yes,
just
you could
all these
theoretically
cute little things.
You could theoretically have these things if you're a facecam streamer. It's not going to look as natural though. If you're able to actually have it in the same visual style and medium as your model, it's going to feel much more cohesive than if insert IRL streamer here has a cartoon or even realistic looking hammer spawn in and hit them in the head. It's just not going to look as clean.
Yeah, like if you were trying to, I would think it's more effort on the IRL part, because if you think about it, as a VTuber, you can like craft everything to look the way you need it to look. But if you're like IRL, I think you'd have to like dress a certain way and have your setup in the background a certain way, and like really try to like somehow make it all come together. Whereas if you're a VTuber, you can literally just design the model to fit the graphic assets, to fit everything that's going on the stream, to fit the themes and concepts you're trying to put forward, even like the type of content you make as well. Like if you want to be like a retro kind of cartoon VTuber like Miss Pumpkin Person, I think her name is? Yeah, or like a 90s diner like Miss Lala, or Cabal, for example, with his style. Like you can do that, but it's like something that I would think as an IRL streamer, it's more hard to like stand out as much as a VTuber does, because a VTuber can really take on that persona and that look and that theme, whereas an IRL person, it's like cosplay. It's someone in a costume,
I think that's
and it's
why,
a bit more hard to like, you know?
I think that's why a lot of IRL streamers invest so much in their backgrounds, because I think you're very correct that you can only change your physical appearance so much and sort of maintain within the scope of what is practical and not jarring. That, like you mentioned, either cosplay or just, you know, certain streamers have different just fashion styles, certainly, but that the number of potential styles, as many as there are IRL, is going to be naturally less than the number of visual styles that you have at your disposal when you're working with animation and VTuber models. And I think that's probably why folks do so much with their backgrounds, because there's a lot more potential in the backgrounds there of, all right, you know, whether it be RGB lighting or, you know, different props in the background. But the thing is, we as VTubers have that too. And that's one of the few things where it's easier for us than IRL, because you know, obviously it takes very talented, skilled artists to make a good background. Shout out to RYUWUNA who made mine. But that I didn't need to have a physical talk show set built. RYUWUNA did not have to go out and contract building and, you know, find these lovely plants and desk and whatnot that they use their art skills, which is going to be, I would think in relativity, a bit less taxing perhaps than some of the very elaborate and very creative IRL backgrounds that I've seen for streamers.
And like, can you imagine like having to put on the costume every day, having to do the makeup every day?
No.
Like get all the setup done every single day. The management it would take to like keep that all maintained every single day. My God.
I know it's sort of almost a running joke at this point of one of the benefits of being a VTuber means that you don't have to wear pants. And yes, that is absolutely true, but like you're saying, it also means you don't need to worry about everything else. And when I explain VTubing to people and the appeals of it, obviously there's the creative aspects, there's the privacy aspects, but I do mention also that there's just things that you can do, different axes of creativity that you have at your disposal in VTubing that you won't have IRL. That, okay, if I don't want to, put on makeup today or wear a fancy outfit today, that's one thing. But what if I want to ignore the laws of physics today? What if I have this funny little bit that is going to require me to shrink down to the size of a mosquito? Or get really large?
Yeah.
Or if I want to just, be upside down for a minute, do a little rotation. Can't really do that IRL. That's much, much more difficult.
Yeah, no, doing a IRL that's a lot more effort. I think the real question is, are you wearing pants today, sir?
I am. That I'm perhaps in the minority. I don't know. I'm more comfortable in pants, actually.
Oh, I too am wearing pants for once.
For once, she says.
I mean, there's some days like especially with the weather being as hot as it is, like you don't want to wear clothes.
Yeah, well, if anything, I would say right now of all times it would be most excusable because the area that you're in is very hot right now. You mentioned that the temperature has gone down a little bit, but I have seen plenty of folks from people in Australia in the past couple months of just being like, yeah, we're melting over here. It's the point where that you are not the first person who has posted saying, it is so hot, I am having difficulty thinking today.
Oh, no, it was... So today it's much cooler, but yesterday it was 43 degrees Celsius. If you don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, I have no idea what it is, but look it up. That was very hot. To the point where, I've never had this before, but it was so hot that it affected my ears. And my ears felt like the whole day they needed to when you go into water and your ears feel like they have to pop underwater? It felt like that all day. And then I woke up with my left ear it had blood in it, and I was like, what the heck is happening in my sleep?
That's not supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to happen. Apparently it was from the weather, but I never had that before. It's a bit better today, but my god.
Yeah, I hope so. If it's a one-off thing, okay, but, if ears are bleeding for more than a day or something, see a doctor. Also, I just looked up the calculation. For those of you who, like me, use the frankly silly, Fahrenheit isn't as silly as other measurement systems we have, but anyways, it's 109.5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot.
That's very hot.
It's very hot. But I'm glad that
It's a bit funny when people are really like, oh my god, it's 30 degrees today, I'm dying. And Americans will be like, that's not even hot, what are you talking about? And I'm like, that's in Celsius! Because they always think in Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
I feel like being in the VTubing sphere it's forced a lot of people to be more internationally aware of just how other things work, of whether it be temperature or time zones, and how those things work, and realizing, oh gosh, time zones internationally are a freaking mess. Because I knew how time zones work on the basic sense. I did not realize until a couple years ago that daylight savings time shifts were not global. That I figured, all right, some countries use daylight savings, some don't, but I thought that the standards of when to switch between one and the other was going to be global, and I was very wrong.
Have you ever seen the map for Australian daylight savings time?
No. I get the feeling that it's very scary.
It's confusing, to say the least. Just
now
look
I'm
at this
curious.
image I'm sending you right now, and just tell me what your brain thinks of it.
That's not real.
That's
That
real. That's...
How does that happen? Who authorized
know.
this?
We don't
Who
know.
thought this was a good idea? all
it's
right,
just how it
the
works.
western chunk, fine, that makes enough sense. Middle chunk, it gets a little bit sketchy, and then it just gets worse.
It just gets worse. It's
1 minute, I'm pulling this as well.
yeah, all good, all good. Chat, prepare yourself
Yeah.
for some mindfuckery right now. Like it will.
Because, like I said, I knew that it was silly, and at least internationally, the fact that different countries shift at different times of year just doesn't do good things for scheduling, because it means, all right, now I need to figure out, are we 12, 13, or 14 hours apart, because it will shift depending on the time of the year. But today I learned that there are time zones in Australia that don't shift based on I always mix up longitude and latitude, that don't shift by east to west as you would expect time zones to do, but north to south.
It's a mess.
What the heck?
It's a mess. Australia truly is like the enigma of the world, honestly.
All right, there's that little bump of inconsistency for no DST in the middle where it's, all right, there's this part that shifts over a bit, and I'm guessing there's more population centers in the middle southern part that makes having that bump a little bit more practical. But I look at DST and say, why would you have this entire sort of quadrant of the country separated by an hour on north to south alone? That's not how that works.
That's not how it works, but it does. But that is how it works.
Ugh.
It hurts your brain, doesn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the things that you learn being in the VTubing sphere, because it's so international, and that whether folks are in Australia, you have people in North America, South America, Europe, everywhere, and it means that there is that sort of cultural cross-pollination in a way that almost feels like a massive convention. Because, when you go to a con, you have at least one thing in common with really everybody there. And then you learn about new things and meet new people from that. And I think VTubing has sort of become the international convention in that sense, where, all right, you're into this thing one way or the other. Your style might be different, your content might be different, but you found yourself into VTubing in what is still the early years of VTubing, because we are in the early years of VTubing. And you learn and meet new folks from there.
It's kind of crazy to think that it's been like, what? Like, it's 2025. VTubing started technically in 2018.
I feel like you could go as far back as 2016.
True, because Nine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when
became,
she first popped up. Oh my gosh.
But it definitely didn't become publicly accessible until 2018-19-ish. I do agree on that.
Yeah, no, 2018 was probably when people started doing it themselves, and then 2020 was the boom.
Yes, that was the catalyst event.
It was interesting. That was the big bang.
Yes. But it's neat in that in terms of other conventions and large events, I know that you've been to several, you're looking to go to a couple more, but while not quite a convention, sort of bring some other things together. I remember seeing your posts about when you went to Miku Expo, and it was hot there as well.
Oh, dude, that day was such a mess, but it was the best day of my life. So, my community helped me go to Miku Expo, and it was literally like that year, like last year was crazy for me, dude. The fact that I was able to go to Miku Expo at all that year was insane, because I had so much going on. But also, like, I have been waiting to see Miku live. Like, I've been waiting for her to even just come to Australia for, like, over 10 years.
I didn't realize it was the first time she'd come to Australia. I figured that she had to have had a concert there at some point.
No, it was the first time, and it was the 10th anniversary of Miku Expo as well. But I had been watching the Japanese concerts before then, so I had been wanting to see her live, like, way back when. Like, way back from the beginning. And indescribable for a start. Like, actually being at the concert, surrounded by all the fans, like, I can't describe. I cried.
Such a
I
special
was
energy.
bawling my eye out. Like, the second, like, I wasn't prepared for how loud it was. It was my very first concert, so I wasn't prepared for how loud it was. When they started and they turned that volume up, oh my god, it was so loud. I can see why people bring headphones and like earplugs, because yeah, I didn't think about it that far. But my ears eventually did adjust. I was a bit deaf afterwards, though.
Yeah, that usually happens. That's sort of the sign of a well-enjoyed concert, as long as the ringing stops relatively soon. I had an incident where I went to a concert a couple years ago and didn't realize until halfway through the concert, oh, I'm standing right in front of a speaker, and I forgot my earplug. Because depending on the scale of noise at a concert, I will or won't wear earplugs. My ears were ringing for probably a day and a half afterwards. I was like, ooh, that's not good. Ring for an hour or two afterwards, that's fine. And, wake up in the morning, they've stopped ringing. Cool. That's, like, not a terrible concert. Ring for, like, through a sleep, then the one after the concert. Like, ooh, I need to really remember to bring my earplugs in the future.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I don't think it caused any substantial damage.
I mean, at least you weren't sat behind the bins. Like I was. Yeah, so, like, okay, so I almost, like, I had flown to Melbourne for the concert, right? I had bought premium tickets.
Oh, I remember.
And I
seeing some
almost
posts about
didn't get
this.
to attend the concert. Like,
Yeah.
the concert.
That there was
So,
something
here's
about
the story. Here's the story and what went down that day. It was a 39-degree weather day, hot Miku number. Very hot that day. Walk around Melbourne, you probably saw like a bunch of people in Miku Expo outfits, like, Miku something on them. Like, a lot of people were wearing the same backpack that I had. I was walking around with the official t-shirt because I had kind of splurged $400 on literally all of the merchandise. Listen, when my fans give me money, when my fans give me money for the concert and tell me to enjoy myself, I'm gonna make the absolute most of it that I can.
That is literally what they told you to do.
I was given the task and I followed it through. I literally got everything. But so basically what happened was we got to the venue. We had to like walk to the venue from the tram station, and like, let me tell you, going from Melbourne City, where you have all these skyscrapers blocking the sun, so it's kind of cold between the buildings and stuff, getting on a tram, and then where we got off was just heat. It was just fully in the sun. The difference, I wanted to like die on the spot. And we had to walk all the way to the actual venue for a start, okay? So we were already like really hot, sweaty, and just tired by the time we got there. Now, they finally announced everyone to start lining up. So we finally find our line. We line up, and we got there early enough to the point where we weren't like all the way at the end, because we were already standing in the area for the lineup anyway. But then I get to the bag check, and they tell us, all right, pull out your phones. You need the QR code for your tickets. And I was sent like, you get it by a link in your text messages, right?
Yeah.
So Ticket Tech messed up big time. So I went to open my ticket. I bought one for myself and one for my friend who came with me, because I'm not going to Miku Expo by myself. No way. And I had spent like $600+ on these tickets, dude. I opened the link and it said, these tickets are void.
What?
And I panicked. So I didn't know what to do. We stayed in the line, and I get to the bag check, right? And the bag check itself was also a mess, because they were like, oh, your bag is too big. Your bag is too big. You can't bring this in the venue. Right? But then my friend's friend, who was also there, she had the exact same backpack as me. And she was told the same thing. And then she had to go to the locker lineup to, put your bag away in the cloakroom. They told her the bag was fine. like, you can bring that into the venue. So then she's gone back through a second time in the lineup and told them, yeah, no, they said the bag was fine.
Oh god, that's the worst when there's. I've done event management and stuff, and one of the worst experiences for both an attendee and for an event runner is when you realize that staff has been given conflicting information or instructions.
Yeah. It was bad. I mean, I get why they don't want big bags in the venue, because, you know, like, you don't want people tripping over and stuff, and you don't want people bringing in stuff they shouldn't. My friend, who was also coming with us, she had brought in a 3DS, and they were like, does this record video? Does this have video recording on it? And she's like, no, it's just for gaming. Yeah, but they don't know that, because they had no idea what it was. And she's like, no, it's just for gaming. It's a game device for playing video games. And they're like, all right, go in. So back to the tickets though. So we go to the bag checkout. They told me all this with my bag, so that was already a problem. And I'm like, okay, I'll hop out the line, but first, can I speak to someone, because I'm having a problem with my tickets? And then I ended up holding up the line, which I felt so bad about, because they're trying to like sort me out while sorting people out. And luckily there was like 2 people running the bag check-in, but still, I felt so bad about holding this line up because it's so hot outside. Like, everyone just wants to go inside and get some water and stuff. And they were like, all right, you need to go all the way downstairs, all the way around the other side of this massive building, past all these crowds of people, to the service checkout station to get that sorted.
Oh boy, that sounds like, you know, a 10-15 minute walk and then standing in another line for this concert that begins in how long?
Yes, well, yes. We walked down, and at this point, like, I'm trying to hold it together because, like, you know, I've waited years for this concert. I've spent a lot of money to be here.
Yeah.
What the heck am I supposed to do if they're not going to let me in? Like, how? People gave me a lot of money to get to this concert. What am I supposed to tell them?
Yeah, this is a reasonable thing that, you know, sometimes folks go to big events that they have wanted to go to for all their lives and have, you know, either overplanned or unrealistic expectations. No. Yours was just, I paid for my ticket. I received confirmation for my ticket. I even got the fancy little QR code. It worked the other day. It says void now.
There's a reason this happened, and I am not the only person this happened to, and it gets way more interesting. So we get to the lineup for this place, and luckily the lineup, because you know, like, the ticket session and stuff was just starting, right? So there wasn't too many people lined up, but the line behind us got long. So we got to the thing, and like, I am literally on the verge of a panic attack. I am trying to hold in tears. I'm trying to keep myself calm. I'm like literally internally screaming, and I'm like,
I imagine you weren't the only one.
My ticket. Yeah. My ticket. I was like, please help. My tickets. I don't know what happened, but I like showed her proof of purchase. I showed her like the proof of, like, you know, because I paid through Afterpay, because it's just easier that way. So I showed her, like, you know, everything's paid for, like, you know, all of this stuff, and she was like, all right, I'm gonna get you sorted. So basically, and I found this out after I got into my seat at the concert. Okay, basically what happened was Ticket Tech oversold tickets. Now, I didn't sleep in too late when tickets got released, but I did sleep in a little bit, and I was shocked that I even managed to get premium seats in D section, which is the floor section in the middle of, like, you know, the arena where everyone stands up. That's where I wanted to be. That's where I should have been. Everyone in D section got shafted to the side because basically they oversold the tickets. D section basically got wiped, and then people got moved around. There were people who got moved from D section into the premium seat, like the front row seat section, because they were just trying to like move everyone to where was closest to D section. I don't know what happened to D section. It was just obliterated. So
didn't
Yeah,
exist.
we ended up on the side rail, so there was no one in front of us. It was like the railing, and then you could see like the middle crowd, like right in front of us, basically, like the walkway and then the middle crowd. So we had a decent view still, and I'm grateful for where the seats were still there.
You
But
mentioned
then,
bins, though?
yeah, we were right in front of the bins.
Now, making sure I'm understanding in translation here, bins here in terms of, like, American lingo, in front of the trash cans, in front of the dumpsters?
Yes. Yes. Luckily, they did not smell. They were not full of
goodness.
anything because, you know,
It's the start of the
there
concert
was-
at the very least.
yeah, like there was nothing in them, thank God, and like no one was really eating in the concert. Like everyone was too busy screaming. But yeah, the people that sat with us, they found out like they were also from D section, and then all of a sudden, everyone in my seating row and behind us, like all in this, we were moved to section A, I believe. We were all D section people
That makes sense.
that had been shafted,
Yeah. Because
and like
they probably had to use a section that was either slated to outright not be used, or maybe there was something programmatically on the back end where they meant to open those sections and that D was never supposed to be open to begin with, so they still had the right number and were then able to shift people over, because obviously they can't overwrite written seats. But it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like anybody was turned away, that there was still enough seats, but that the placement
seemed like-
in terms
yeah.
of reservations was incorrect.
Well, see, the worst part was we were premium ticket holders, but
Yeah, that's where it gets awkward.
we were shafted to the cheaper seats. And by cheaper seats, I mean like we paid 600 odd. Like my tickets were like 300, 600 all up because I paid for 2 tickets. And we were moved to tickets that were like maybe like $100 or less dollars. And I was lucky where we got sat because we were along the aisle enough to have a good view of the concert. There were people all the way down to the point where, so like, you know, you got the stage. They had like the very end like of the aisle where the stage, you could probably barely see it from the angle you were at. I felt so bad for them. I was, because like
they
you
got
could
a
just look down the
refund,
aisle
like-
and they were so depressed.
Oh my gosh.
See, now the venue told us to contact Ticket Tech for refunds, but as you know, it's Ticket Tech, and you know, we all contacted them, of course, and we got told tough luck.
We don't
We
have
don't
Ticket
do
Tech
refunds.
in the US. I'm assuming it's very similar to Ticketmaster, who would probably say much the same thing.
It's notorious for messing up people's tickets and for not giving refunds. It's known for doing this. Unfortunately, my first ever concert ended up that way. I still had an amazing time, although, mind you, after I get my ticket sorted, right, should we go back to the line that we were at? Because I didn't realize I had been moved until I got into the venue and was told where to sit. So I got into the lineup and lined up again in this hot weather, long lineup, got through the bag check, got to the door. Oh, you're in the wrong line. You need to go down the stairs all the way to the other side of the building again.
Oh, come on. Just let me walk through. Just let me walk
To go
through.
through the doors. Ah! I mean, it wasn't so bad because, like, when I was lining up, there was this nice lady who was giving out handmade bracelets, and I got like a Miku one
Aw.
from her, which was pretty nice. But my God, by that point, I just wanted to get inside, dude. I've lined up like 4 times at this rate. I want to get in the building. So like, we find the lineup. And it took a while for us to get in, and it was really funny because, like, right in front of us, this couple got dismissed away because they tried to bring in real green onions and leeks into the venue, and they're not allowed to do that.
Oh, no, you can't do that. Like, I can't decide if it's like, you know, respect for trying, but
They tried. But also, like, as they walked away, the paper bag they had everything in just broke. And went all over the floor, and I was like,
oh, that sounds like a bad sitcom moment.
It was bad. I felt so bad. Like, everyone just wanted to get inside at this point. It was a nightmare.
And you still got in before the concert started.
Yes, we did.
That's good.
Which was good. But yeah, so like we got through the doors, got through the bag check, went through the little metal barricade things, and the sigh of relief that I had when I was in the building, I fell to the floor and I was like, I am in! Thank
You made
God!
it to the promised
Yes!
land.
Because I was like, there was no way I wasn't seeing this concert. If I had to sneak in, I was going to sneak in. I paid good money to be here, okay?
High voltage VTuber
yeah, no.
breaks into Miku Expo Mord 11.
I mean, look, if anyone would do it, it would be me. Let's be honest.
Do you remember what the first Miku song you ever heard was?
The first Miku song I ever heard was Melt.
Ooh.
And it was a video from Project Diva, which was the video game, which really sparked my interest in Miku. I was super keen to find out more about her, because, like, one, the song is a banger, and two, the game looked amazing, and three, Miku looked amazing, and I had to know more. I was instantly hooked. Instantly.
Well, that, I
It
guess...
was also how I found out about Caramel Dawson as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a video of her dancing to it from Project Diva, and I was like, yo, this is so cute. What the
Well, I guess it came full circle with you almost melting the day of the concert.
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, when that first song came on, which was the Miku, Miku kind of song that's been going around these days. Yeah, that one. When that came on, I bawled. It was my eyes were gushing. I was leaking everywhere. I was like,
yeah, oh gosh, that must have been such a cool moment, because I've had similar ones where, if it's a show, a concert, an event that you've been wanting to go to, especially if it's one that I don't know if I've ever had a scenario where it's been one that I've wanted to go to for a decade and hadn't been able to. And that wait obviously is only going to make the reaction even more powerful, because at that point it's sort of the catharsis of it all, and especially after going through everything of that day of the fear of, wait, am I actually not going to get to see this concert, to hear the opening notes and just sort of have the confirmation, yes, you made it, it's happening, you're here, that I can very much see how the emotions would just be overwhelming in a good way.
And like, look, I know a lot of people were really upset about... So, Miku Expo used to use the glass screen for their quote-unquote
Oh, yes,
holograms.
yeah, there was that little kerfuffle.
Yeah. When I tell you, literally did not care a single bit about the screen. It looked fine. It looked immaculate. Like, you really couldn't tell from where I was sitting. Like, you couldn't tell it was there. Most of the time, you were just too focused on the fact that Miku was in front of you singing and dancing. Like, I was screaming, I was crying, I was singing along, I was waving the goddamn glow sticks, I was dancing along, and when Luca Night Fever came on, like the playlist we got, and like there was a set playlist for Australia, but each venue, like I think New Zealand and Melbourne got the same one, and then the other ones got like slightly different songs. We got the best one, in my opinion. We got the actual just best songs, and it was a lot of the old school ones. This was the even better thing about the Australian tour, is that we got a lot of the old school ones that I'd seen from the older concerts growing up that I wanted to see live, and
that makes
Luca
sense
Night
from a
Fever
booking
was
standpoint
top
as well.
of the list.
Of just, since they know, all right, we haven't played this market before, so go to the classics, go to the all-timers, because even if people have seen them, in videos, that we know we have not played these songs in this country before, in this market before. That when you have touring acts, especially ones that will go on multiple tours over multiple years, that they will very deliberately shift out different songs in the playlist, and they might keep a couple of the classics, but naturally they want to make sure that folks that have come to multiple of their concerts in insert city name here are able to get a different experience. Otherwise, ticket sales will go down really fast, because, all right, if I've seen this show twice now, am I going to go buy tickets to see it for a third time if I think it's the exact same set list? But since this was the first one in Australia, it's everything back to the basics. You bring out all the ones that you would do for that first time show.
Yeah, I mean, we got some of the new songs, but we also got just the hype old classic songs that people have been waiting years to see, like World Is Mine, Fireflower, Blue Star. I literally screamed when Blue Star came on. I was not expecting that one to be in. I knew every single lyric. I sung every single word. Oh, so good. But then, like, being part of the Miku Miku Beam as well was insane.
So, I grew up aware of Miku. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember seeing the music video of The World Is Mine, way back in the day when it was relatively new. I've been very aware of Miku. I can't say that I am a diehard Miku fan. I could probably name all of maybe 2 of her songs. I've heard, incidentally, a good chunk of them, but I know Miku Miku Beam, and I know that must have been the most hype moment of the whole concert. Like, that feels... I'm guessing they did that near the end. That has to have been, like, back half of the set list for sure, because that's something that you sort of... You either use it in the opener, because that's what you use to set the tone, but since it was You Can Call Me Miku, I'm guessing they probably put it near the end of, like, have it be one of the encores.
Actually, no. I believe it happened midway. It wasn't after the So they do like a band break. So it wasn't at that point because they did the Wawaka song, which, by the way, I'm glad some people knew this, but Sir Wawaka is a producer that passed away, unfortunately. And as tribute, during the concert, everyone changes because usually this is for the band introduction, the white light stick color, but when Wawaka's song comes on, everyone changes their light stick to white to like tribute to him. And it was like so cool seeing Unknown Mother Goose live. Miku whipping out the guitar, jamming out to it. It's so cool. But then I believe the Miku Miku Beam song was after that one, so it was in the middle because the finale was a lot of the Miku Expo songs, and I'm pretty sure the I can't remember. I think either Intergalactic Bound or Lucky Orb was the finale because they do like the part where everyone's like encore, and then just comes back on. Although that part was kind of funny too because like everyone started doing the encore, and then it would like die down because people were like self-conscious and they don't want to be like the one screaming encore by themselves.
And also, you're probably tired at that point from a 2-hour concert that you're gonna be chanting, but also I've seen the sliding spectrum of some acts will only need you to chant encore for like 10 seconds before they come back out. Others will leave you hanging and almost questioning, is there an encore? That they'll wait a good 3 minutes, and usually at that point it's because they're actually either doing a quick change backstage or that they need to like get water or something. But that sometimes you do end up waiting and that the crowd dies down. It's like, wait, is it actually done, or are we getting an encore?
They gave the band a good break, but yeah, no, like the encore was fine. It was just like it kept going and then dying down and going and dying down because people kept like getting super self-conscious. But as for getting tired, I was running on pure Miku adrenaline the whole time.
Oh, that's fair.
I was not tired a single moment. Every time the song came on, I was up and at 'em, I was going at it. Unless it was like a slower song, in which case I was sitting down with the light stick, but still, like, I was running on pure energy. Meanwhile, my friend couldn't even last a single song.
Oh, come on.
I'd look over and he's sitting down. I'm like, are you kidding me? Get up right now.
You got a full concert of this, buddy.
I paid $300 for you to be here. Get up.
Drill Sergeant Fox.
You will dance to Miku and you will like it.
Do you have a favorite, either whether it be a single Miku song or like a favorite album or era even?
Oh gosh. All right. So I'm very partial to the older like back when Miku really took on the sound of the future concept, where a lot of her songs were a lot of like EDM, like Trip Shots, Live Tune, all of those producers making all those cool songs, like Sturbalast and Tell Your World, obviously, and just like a lot of the know, like Miku Miku Nashite Ageru is another one. Like I'll Make You Miku Miku is the name of the song in English. And like Miku Miku Nashite Ageru. That one's probably my favorite. I didn't get to see that one live, but my god if I did. At the moment though, my favorite Miku song would have to be that's really difficult, but it would probably be Hyper Reality Show by Utsupi. I was hoping they'd play that at Miku Expo in Australia. They sadly didn't. Other regions did get it though, so kind of salty, but that's fine.
Now, I'm actually checking the Miku Expo site now to see if they've made any announcements regarding what I anticipate will be, 2025 Miku Expo. Not seeing anything at a glance, but I think I saw it was you or somebody else posting saying that they are very likely to return to Australia in the future, and that hopefully they saw from those concerts that, yeah, not only should you come back and have it be part of your annual tour, but you probably should have been here a half decade ago.
Oh yeah, they should have. I mean, we probably didn't have, like, it's Australia, so, like, we probably didn't have, like, the massive crowds that they normally have in America. I mean, just because number of people, but, like, the turnout, I would say, was pretty good. Like, the arenas were pretty full. I'm not gonna lie. And I don't know if they'll come back. I hope they do. Because, like, it took them that long to come in the first place. I'm hoping we gave them enough reason to come back. I really do. I don't know if they'll come back this year, because generally they don't go to the same place. Like, if they went one place one year, they probably won't go to the same place another year.
That I wouldn't expect necessarily the same cities, but I would hope that they get to the country of Australia, and even if it's a city that they didn't play last year, that there would be at least one show in Australia.
And, like, they do tend to go to America quite often, but they try to, like, change the regions in America in which they go. So America's probably had, like, the most Miku Expo out of everyone, in my opinion. Greedy people, share! But, I'm really hoping they do come back, because, like, that was such an amazing experience. Like, it really is indescribable. Like you think, oh, it's just a TV screen with a character on it. No, the whole energy, the atmosphere, just being there, like, you don't get it until you're there. It's everything.
If I'm someone who is completely unfamiliar with Miku, what do you use to get me into Miku?
1 second. I don't mean to interrupt, but I need to kick the cat out of my room real quick.
Yeah,
1 second.
It's all good. Please stand by, folks. Cat was being a little stinker earlier today as well when Box and I were chatting, so please stand by. Hopefully you all are enjoying so far. Also, Alan JT, I missed your follow a while back. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome on in. And Yatha Indy, thank you for that very high compliment comparing my voice to Stan Lee. I don't think I've ever been compared to him before, but thank you. I'm very much taking that as a compliment. Unhinged Hatsune Miku memes. Oh, I feel like that could be a whole stream unto itself. I almost feel like I should save that for Voxen. That's a good concept for her to just do for however many hours. But yes, hopefully you all are enjoying so far. I do these shows usually once a week. I've been falling behind recently. Just past couple months have been very busy for me in a positive way. But this is also my first show back from the past month because I had my 4th anniversary charity marathon, which was very busy, very hectic. So we needed a week or two to recover from that, and then had a couple scheduling things get in the way. But we're back and in talks with a couple other folks as well. So do be looking forward to Vtuber Talk Expo Tour 2025.
I am back. I am so sorry.
It's all good. I was just telling them that this is not the first time today or in the past couple days that the cat's been a bit of a stinker.
Oh, a stinker is correct. She just took a massive dump all over my carpet.
Wait, another one?
Oh, she peed last time. This time was...
Oh.
I can't win. I can't win. You don't understand. The cat peed on my carpet yesterday. Then the dog took a big crap all over the lounge floor. I didn't see it until it was too late and I stepped in it. And now the cat's shat on my carpet.
But, yeah, so
I
now,
can't
in the
win.
course of 24 hours, both the dog and the cat.
I am under attack. I am under siege. Help me. Oh, God.
Hopefully it doesn't smell too bad, because also, you know, pet poop in the heat is a special type of terrible.
It's not great, but I have gassed my room out with deodorant, so that'll fight it until the end. I am strong. I can make it through this. Ugh.
We're gonna make it. Yes. You mentioned.
If I don't think about it, it's not there.
You mentioned Project Diva, and that that was where you heard a lot of Miku songs and also other non-Miku songs, but all-time classics. Was that your introduction to rhythm games as a whole, or were you into rhythm games prior? Because I know that it's definitely an area of interest for you now.
So it was not my introduction. My introduction was probably Guitar Hero. Although I couldn't really play Guitar Hero because I have small hands. And well, not on my VTuber one at least. I have small hands though, and I found playing Guitar Hero was kind of painful because my fingers just couldn't get to the buttons properly, and it would just make my hand cramp up trying. So I could never play on the songs that had more than the 3 buttons, which sucked because they were really slow and like I wanted to play on higher difficulty. But then Project Diva came along, and you know, that was probably a rhythm game that I got really into for a while. Because it had like, you know, all the buttons on the controller that I could reach and I could actually play it. It was really complex though, especially the Project Diva F series. I think that's when the difficulty really went up a notch, because they added in a lot more mechanics to the game rather than just pressing like triangle, X, square, etc. And all the arrows, you had to do all this other stuff, and you had to try and like keep your combo to get the gold star to unlock the secret ending scene of the music video, but also like pass the song in general. And yeah, and then in like I think Mega Mix, they made it like I don't know what it is about Mega Mix, but I find Mega Mix to be very difficult to keep in time with the songs compared to like any of the other games.
That makes me wonder if it's a syncing issue that I know sometimes on calibration, depending on the TV and other things, that it can be offset a bit.
Yeah, maybe it could be because it's on Nintendo Switch, so I'm not sure if there's like any delay on that. I'm not sure. I just find like no matter what I do, I seem to not be able to stick in time to the songs. And I know I'm not that bad at rhythm games, so like it can't just be me, but
have you set the calibration?
Yeah, I did. I am so sorry about the dog.
Don't worry, it is not the first time that a fluffy friend has made a cameo appearance on Vtuber Talk, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
Who let the dog into the studio?
They want to be heard. They want to talk.
He is speaking facts.
He has very hot takes on Miku and Guitar Hero. And why did we not get Miku Guitar Hero crossover?
Exactly.
We're getting a lot of Miku crossovers now, though.
Dude, look. I don't know if anyone has noticed, but Godzilla and Hatsune Miku are like best friends.
Have you seen the clip of somebody hitting Miku Beam Drop with Godzilla's laser breath as they got a victory royale?
Yes, I have. I've seen all of those clips. It is so good. It's so a little bit of history on this. So in Project Diva, there's a song where Miku's like a really tall giantess, right? And she's like going through the city, you know, just walking around like a curious creature would. And then all of a sudden, Godzilla just shows up, and they start battling each other. And then by the end of the song, they're like, you know, arm to arm on each other's shoulder, just like chilling as friends.
Yeah.
And like ever since then, it has been such a meme. Every single time Godzilla or Miku gets added to a game, they're always added together. Monkey Ball, they were added together. Fortnite, they were added together. Like there's a bunch of other games. It's just it's a thing every time. Like
they're both in
if
Magic the
Godzilla's
Gathering
getting
now.
added, Miku's an addict. Yeah, exactly. Like every time they find each other in the game, they're best friends. They're besties.
They're destined to be together.
Exactly. I think it's because like they're both Japanese icons, but like the coincidence, they know what
They
they're
aren't
doing
owned
at
by the
this
same
point.
company, are they? I don't think so.
No. No, I just think they're really notable in Japan. I think
Yeah.
like people when they think Godzilla, they think of Japan. When people like Miku's like literally a Japanese icon at this
Yeah.
point. So like,
Mhm.
yeah.
That makes sense that if you have an IP that is doing a lot of crossovers, that you're going to end up pulling from naturally the biggest ones for a given market. So seeing Miku and Godzilla being not deliberately paired up, but often winding up in things together does make sense. Do you have a dream crossover that hasn't happened yet? What would you like to see Miku in that she is not in yet?
I mean, at this point, there's not a lot she hasn't been in.
That's fair.
To be honest, like she's in so much now. I mean, one of my dream crossovers did happen. She was added to Muse Dash, so that was one that I really wanted. Honestly, I think out of everything, and it's kind of already happened, but not really. So during one of the Miku concerts, I believe it was when she was in New York, there was a moment where Tetsuya Nomura, the guy behind Kingdom Hearts, he kind of collaborated with Miku and did their own design of Miku. And they did a promotional Final Fantasy-like video for Hatsune Miku to promote the concert in New York in America. In an interview, he said he would be interested in kind of exploring more to do with Miku and seeing if maybe sometime down the line they can make something like a game with her. That hasn't happened.
Yet.
But if I had to, if I had to say if I wanted to collab though, it would probably be like Square Enix to do something with Miku, especially Tetsuya Nomura, like
Now
his
I'm just
design of
thinking-
Miku.
Obviously, they wouldn't put her in Kingdom Hearts. That doesn't work. But can you make a Kingdom Hearts-like game that explores different worlds and versions of Miku? That we have so many different versions of Miku that we've had. Pokemon crossovers, and there's Racing Miku, and there's normal Concert Miku, and there's Classic Miku. There's enough Miku variants out there to justify the type of multi-world, multi-planar travel that you get in Kingdom Hearts just with Miku, and that you have the Miku of that world, and that she's in your party, and you have different summons and whatnot, and that can be other Vocaloids. I think there's a concept here.
Yeah. Like, honestly, Miku is basically like Barbie at this point. There's like, she can be anything. She can be in anything. Like, there's not much Miku hasn't been in. Miku's collabed with, like, she's been on late night talk shows on American TV. She's collaborated with top designers. She was in a commercial for Toyota. She's done it all.
She's getting her own anime.
Actually, she kind of, yeah. Well, I mean, so she had a movie recently, but it wasn't really.
Maybe
she was in the movie.
Because I'm
it was like this Project Sakai movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a big factor in it, but Project Sakai isn't strictly just Vocaloid. They are kind of like, it's like a group of anime characters and then the Vocaloid characters together in a team, almost. I haven't seen the movie myself because there's no way for me to watch it currently, but hopefully soon. Apparently
I'm hoping
it's really
that somebody
good.
will license it sooner or later.
Hopefully. Netflix.
I feel like Crunchyroll's probably where I'd speculate it would go, but
Probably.
as long as we get it somewhere.
Too much.
Now, one anime I do know that you like, and that it's interesting that this was your introduction to the franchise as a whole, was Pokemon. That was the first touch point that you had with it. It wasn't actually from the games, as a lot of folks had it, or any of the other merchandise, but that it was specifically the anime first, and then it spiraled into cards and other things. So
yeah, I grew up on Pokemon. Kind Because, you know, like my introduction to anime was probably Pokemon. But then there was also Dragon Ball Z. My dad was obsessed with that. You know, me and my dad would watch the Pokemon series on like early morning TV before school and stuff, or like when I was younger, just in general, like before I was in school. I remember I have like a really distinct memory of the Mewtwo movie that he would like rent on DVD from like Video Easy, and we'd watch that together and stuff. It's really fun memories like of Pokemon, just watching the anime, watching all the movies, getting constantly hurt with Pikachu getting upset because they're trying to kill off Ash Ketchum all the goddamn time.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and it really made me realize that naturally, when it comes to movies for anime adaptations, and especially when it's like shonen style properties, that you're gonna up the stakes a lot in the movie because you need to have something really hard hitting and really squeeze it into an hour and a half to 2 hours, and usually that's gonna involve some sort of world threatening scenario, and that you're going to have to put a lot of danger and suspense into a very small amount of time, and that surprisingly, that involves putting the main character in peril in very short order.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I didn't really think about, Ash maybe gets into true peril once a season, maybe, in terms of the actual anime. But in the movies, yeah, basically every time he is either dying near death or really bad things are happening, potentially traumatic things are happening. And that Pikachu just watches this and has to see this and live with this.
Yeah, like he literally, like, you know, in the Mewtwo movie where like Ash kind of like comes between Mewtwo and Mew and gets turned into freaking stone, and then Pikachu's just hanging over his body, just like, wake up, wake up. Ah! I hate it. Which one of you made Pikachu cry? I will commit crimes.
Do you remember what the first episode of the Pokemon anime you saw was? Or the first movie?
Oh,
or
God.
Was the movie the first one?
I honestly couldn't remember which episode it was. 'Cause I was so young at the time. I was like 3 years old. I was probably about 4 when I saw the Pokemon movie with my dad. Like, he rented the DVD. We didn't go see it in cinemas, but I reckon I was around 4 years old.
Now, you also mentioned waking up to watch it early, and that's one thing that's always very interesting to me, especially when it gets to international stuff, that nowadays we have multiple streaming platforms, and for the most part, the way and the places that people watch anime is going to be consistent. That you're, most of the time, if a platform has the rights to a show, they'll have the rights across all countries, or at the very least, across all countries minus Japan, and Japan is quirky in which platform, if any, has the license, because that's where it's broadcast, and they have to take that into consideration. But especially 10, 20, 25 years ago, back in the day for broadcast in the US, that it varied wildly, that you would have a whole bunch of public broadcasts, and that could end up being similar situations to what you had, where it's you wake up and you watch that before school, or it would be airing like 4 p.m., a little bit after you get back from school. Some would be on Saturday night. There was the Toonami block, but at least in the US, you got Toonami, which was nationally broadcast because that was on Cartoon Network, which is part of cable. But before you get to cable and other things, that it's going to be a bit spottier. And I have really no knowledge of international broadcast networks or standards or history and traditions, because I feel like there's this whole sort of I wouldn't say culture, but there's a lot of core memories that people have similar to yours of where and how they watched their first anime, or where and how they watched their first episodes of series that are near and dear to their heart, things like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Sailor Moon. So what was the broadcast scenario for anime like in Australia? Because I genuinely do not know.
So many Australian children who are around my age would know Toasted TV, which was basically this before school broadcast if you woke up early enough before school, because you had to be at school by 8 p.m. like 8 a.m. I mean, not 8 p.m. What am I saying? 8 a.m. Or possibly earlier. But if you woke up early enough, you got to watch Toasted TV, and that had Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, Bakugan, Beyblade, Pokemon, you name it, like all of the classic animes, just like on there every morning, and it was great. It also had like a bunch of other shows mixed in, but it was mostly anime from what I recall, at least from what I watched. It was really the only way for me to watch anime at the time. It was like my only access to it, aside from if you like rent the DVD or something. Because of course we didn't have like this was before Foxtel. Like this is before we had like that kind of on-demand kind of TV. Even Foxtel, like when we got Foxtel didn't have anime for a while either. The only way to watch anime when we got Foxtel was on there's this channel called Boomerang, and they would have Vampire Night and Fruits Basket specifically.
Oh, Boomerang was a very different network in the US.
Yeah, it was like a late night thing. I don't know why it was on Boomerang, but it was.
So was this the same actual branding of Boomerang as what we had in the US? Boomerang, what I think of as Boomerang
was like the old cartoons.
Yeah,
like
that it was a
yeah,
because it was a not a subsidiary, but sort of a block for Cartoon Network where they would show the older cartoons, like you were saying, Simpsons, not Simpsons, Jetsons, Flintstones, and the like. So they put anime in that block?
I couldn't tell you why, but it was on there late, like once a week, late night. And I know this because I had it scheduled, because we had like that Foxtel that could record things if you missed it. So Adult Swim was mixed into Cartoon Network, and they had it on Cartoon Network late nights for a while, but then eventually got removed when Cartoon Network became more kid-friendly. But I remember like catching some of the shows as a kid on Cartoon Network. Probably shouldn't have been watching them, but I did catch a couple of them.
Now I'm wondering if Boomerang in the West also had anime in that block, and that maybe that was just the years that I wasn't watching on TV like that anymore. I feel like I need to go and look up some of this history, because I'm very much a business nerd and sort of a anime history nerd in a lot of things, so I find this type of stuff really, really fascinating.
I mean, it was bizarre that it was even on there, but like it was where to watch it, so you know, I took what I could get. I mean, we did have we had One Piece on Cartoon Network. There was like One Piece, Bakugan, Beyblade. Although I couldn't get too heavily into those as a kid. Probably these days I could now. Just as a kid, my mind was like more into I was into watching Ed, Edd n Eddy and all that on
good
Cartoon
taste,
Network.
Very
mostly.
good taste. That was absolutely one of my favorites.
Kids Next Door.
Yes,
that one was also good. Yeah, because like whenever like I remember I used to get angry at One Piece. I'd be like, no, bring back my other show. I want to watch that instead. But no, these days I like One Piece. So.
One Piece is a mountain that I am too scared to climb. I missed that boat literally and figuratively. I watched the premiere back on the old dub on 4Kids was the block that we had, and that was usually public broadcast here in the US. And they did up through the first season and a half, and then the license was acquired by Funimation, and they restarted from the beginning and redubbed, because not a lot of people know this, but the reason that the 4Kids dub, the first dub, made so many changes that a lot of people riff on was because they had to, in order to meet US broadcast standards. That there's just a couple rules and sort of subtle things that you wouldn't necessarily think are unreasonable, but realize, okay, you can't show children in mortal peril. So we can't actually have a gun being pointed at someone, which is why we're going to have to make those edits and either, you know, remove the gun or make it into a plunger shooting thing. And you can't show smoking, all right? So we're going to have to make that a lollipop, just because that's a broadcast standard that, you know, it's understandable enough to say, okay, on public broadcast that we don't want children in mortal peril being shown. And, all right, smoking's bad. We don't necessarily want that. But that people don't necessarily understand that those changes made to One Piece were done specifically to allow public broadcast as an avenue for distribution back in the day. But when Funimation got it, they started broadcasting it on Cartoon Network, which is cable and therefore not subject to that. But also then they were doing the DVDs. So I didn't keep watching when they did that reboot, so to speak. And now I just look and say, I'm not going to watch 1,000 episodes. I'm sorry. I know it's good. But they're also doing the full reboot for, I think it's meant for folks like me who want to watch One Piece but don't want to watch 1,000 episodes. And have you heard the very creative title that they have for the One Piece reboot, which is going to be starting, I think it's in the next year or so?
I have not.
It's called The One Piece.
The One Piece.
The One Piece, yes.
You had to add an extra word to the name. That makes it easier, I suppose.
The End Critic, very good guess. Very strong guess with One Piece Kai.
You know, there was speaking of censorship and differences, these are two ones that always get me. One, jelly donuts in Pokemon. Why couldn't they just say a rice bowl?
That's one that I find fascinating, and that it's one that I call out as well in a lot of different senses, because obviously that was not a censorship or broadcast standard change. That, I think, was... Frankly, I think it was for kids not having a lot of confidence in American children being able to understand something that was very much, in fairness, not a thing in America. That I did not know what rice balls were. I did not know what onigiri were until I was probably 19 or 20. That it's just not, unless you grow up in an Asian household, that's not something that is going to be on your radar. It is not something that has proliferated into broader American culture. It's not something that you see served really even today in Japanese restaurants, Chinese restaurants, unless you go to an izakaya specifically. And those didn't really end up becoming a thing in any degree in the US until I would say 2010s at the earliest. But at the same time, as a child...
It could have been a learning opportunity, though.
That's the thing. I think that they should have had more confidence that kids could understand something that they weren't familiar with. Because at the very least, I can tell you, growing up as a child who grew up in America, I know what a jelly donut is. And I looked at the thing that Brock was holding, and I knew that sure as heck was not a jelly donut.
Yeah, it's gonna add more confusion.
Yeah.
And
if anything, if they had called it a rice ball, I would have... The worst that would have happened is I might have potentially thought that it was a unique thing in the Pokemon world. It's put rice in a ball. That ball-shaped form, Pokeballs, rice balls. That makes sense. Yeah, why wouldn't you eat rice in a nice little handheld package? And then I would have gone on.
Would have known what rice was.
Yeah, we knew what rice was, for goodness sake. Might not have understood the nori, the seaweed was, but you don't need to explain that. There's nothing functional that the rice balls occupy in the Pokemon anime. It's just the snack of choice that they had in the first season. Worst that would have happened was I grow up thinking that rice balls are a Pokemon-specific thing or a Pokemon-inspired thing, and potentially embarrassing myself as a 19, 20-year-old when I then see them out in the wild for the first time. I'm like, oh, it's from Pokemon. And be like, what the heck are you talking about? It's just a rice ball. Pokemon didn't invent rice balls. And we're like, oh, oops.
Oh.
But then moving on, then it would have been okay, another little delayed, minorly embarrassing learning moment that it could have been. But I certainly grew up understanding that's not a jelly donut.
That's not it.
Or is it just a really powdered jelly donut? No, because they bite into it and it's still white all the way through. What the heck is that thing? I think they just should have trusted that kids can make some logical steps here.
And then I think another one I was gonna get at was another one I've seen quite often, especially in 4Kids dubs, is when characters in Japan, they live in Japan, but the 4Kids dub changes it to they live in America, even though they are clearly living in Japan. And these school kids would go on a school field trip to a rural Japanese village area, and you'd still try to push the idea that they're in America. They were trying to They were trying to say, oh, look, we've gone to, like, California, and it's a rural Japanese village.
No,
I'm like,
just,
what do you mean
again,
California?
I think that was a misguided thought of, oh, children are going to identify with the characters more if it's the same place that they grew up in. And, that's a logical enough thing from a marketing standpoint to say people in general, not just kids, will identify with things that are familiar to them. At the same time, especially when you get to areas that are so clearly steeped in Japanese culture that you have shrines, pagodas, other very distinctly Japanese architecture, that sort of forcing the issue, that becomes more difficult. If you're in a generic city and you want to say, all right, this is Los Angeles or whatever, okay, fine, I guess. But that's another one where I very much agree. I see what I think was their logic. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, no. I think kids can tell the difference between where they live and what they're seeing on the screen is not where they live. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
I'm
same thing
pretty sure they can
with
tell.
the jelly donuts. Of like, I don't know what a rice ball is. I know what a jelly donut is. That's not a jelly donut. I don't know necessarily what Osaka, Japan is when I'm 6 years old, but I know what America usually looks like, and it's not that. But,
Also, can you excuse me for just one moment? I have to move this carpet out my room. It smells way too
yes,
bad. I'm so
by all
sorry.
means, go right
One
ahead.
second. Be right back.
Yatha Indian Chad mentions localizers have been in the line of fire for a while due to silly changes, and that one thing that we will never really know as viewers are to what degree were changes made by a localizer and what degree of changes were necessarily made by higher up executives that were like, this that for our branding, this is an important thing that orders from the top, you need to have this be in America. And there's a lot of changes, and there are ones that are good and ones that are bad. That a style of localization that I think is really good is when it's a throwaway line, when it's something specific and cultural. An example that was given to me by a mentor a while back was, if you have a scene where a kid has an ice cream and they're singing a jingle that is a riff on a famous Japanese ice cream brand, you're not going to want to bring that in one-to-one. When you bring that to the West, just do, what would you do for a Klondike bar? You put in the English brand, and okay, maybe it's not ice cream sandwich, maybe it's just an ice cream cone that they have, but it's the same basic essence, and it's a throwaway line. That's not going to impact character interactions. It's not going to have plot relevance. But that for a American viewer, if you're going to either shoehorn in Japanese or a brand that simply does not exist in the US, that's going to be even more jarring. And I think ones like those have merit, and that I think a big challenge, especially back in the day, that I'm particularly forgiving the folks who had to do this job in the 90s and early 2000s, there's just not precedent to work with. And that in a lot of ways, I think they just played it overly safe and said, okay, we really want to make sure this show hits, and we want to remove as many potential obstacles as possible. And do we look on them now and say, oh my gosh, they didn't need to do that? Yes. But at the same time, they succeeded in their goal. The fact that we're talking about it today, the fact that Pokemon and so many other shows that we grew up with became, even if not necessarily cornerstones of American culture, became very relevant and central parts of many, many people's childhoods, means that they did their job right to some degree. Or at the very least, it didn't cause people to tune out. And, we riff on it now and say, okay, that you didn't need to do that. We'd like to think that we'd be smarter than that. If that's the cost to them, if I'm a localizer back in the day and I have to make the gamble of, do I over-localize and give this thing a better chance at sustainability and long-term relevance versus, all right, even if it's 1%, 5% of viewers that might bounce off of something or whatever, especially, think about it, that's millions of households this is all going to, and you're playing a statistics game because 1 to 5% of an impact is huge. It's huge. It's so many people. But here we are today, and anime is freaking huge. they succeeded one way or another. There were failures along the way, no question. There are ones that today we know better, but they did well enough to ensure that things went on long enough for us to learn. Anime's cool. I'm so glad that we have so much anime today.
Cool.
It's like, you were mentioning back in the day, you know, you would get what you could get your hands on. And it was whatever was on broadcast and whatever your local video store had, which was probably 5 maybe videos or DVDs with 4 episodes each. And that's if you're lucky. And that's if they're in stock and not already rented out. And now we have, you know, is it a fractured streaming landscape? Yes. But you can watch so many shows the day they air in Japan with subtitles and a non-zero number dubbed same day. That's mind-boggling. Also, Penguin Pope, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in.
Welcome on in, Raiders. We're a Vtuber Talk. We talk about things that are cool.
Yes.
Anime's cool.
I'm Jam here with Vox, and we were just talking about anime and sort of reliving the past. That,
yeah, and how jelly donuts aren't jelly donuts.
Jelly donuts are jelly donuts, and rice balls are rice balls, and rice balls are in fact not jelly donuts. More at 11.
But what about, hear me out there, what if you made a jelly donut rice bowl? Now, like, if you combine the two into one thing, imagine.
I am shocked that the Pokemon Cafe in Japan and, like, whenever they've had pop-ups in the US have not taken advantage of this.
You think they would?
Like, people would buy them. It doesn't matter if it tastes good. It doesn't matter even if it is actually just a jelly donut or actually just a rice ball. Or, you know, you have a platter, one of each, and every person gets to decide how you want to combine them into whatever monstrosity you choose. I feel like there was potential there, and they should, like, Pokemon Company, this is a free idea. Get this on your menu.
Honestly, like, that's another goal of mine, is to go to the Pokemon Cafe. I don't care if I'm celiac, I'm eating that food! I'm doing it! Just once! Just one time! I can go to hospital later, I don't care. I'm one time!
Please do not make yourself go to the hospital, especially while traveling abroad. That's gonna be a big headache.
I know.
Now, fortunately, I actually went to Japan for the first time a couple months ago, and I didn't make reservations at the Pokemon Cafe, but it is in a larger department store, and you are able to shop in the Pokemon Cafe's, you know, store area without a reservation.
Yeah.
So you can still get the plushies, the silverware, the plates, whatever merch you want there, even if you weren't necessarily having the actual meal.
Well, see, my roommate, he went to Japan last year, and so he bought, like, an insane amount of Japanese exclusive Pikachus for me. So I actually have, like, a couple of the different Pokemon Center ones. I have the Pikachu Cafe one. And, like, he already brought, like, a small travel case with him. So what he ended up doing was just wearing all of his clothes on the plane home.
My gosh.
And then had all of the Pikachus and plushies and merchandise that he bought me in his bag.
In the bags.
And I'm like, how are you getting all this home? And I found out because he wore all his clothes. I'm like, what are you doing?
Wait, you say all. How long was he in Japan?
He was in there for like a week and a bit, I think.
So, did he only have like 2 sets of clothes and just rotate or wash them? Or because he couldn't
he
have
just wore them
worn...
all.
You can't wear 7 sets of clothes. Can you?
He probably had like 1 pair of pants and then several shirts, or 2 pairs of pants and several shirts. I don't know. He wore them all on the plane.
I sure hope it was winter, otherwise you're going to boil alive.
It was winter time.
Well, that's good. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Just a little bit. I mean, it was like on the end of winter, I suppose, like going into spring, which is really weird for us because, like, you know, you got like Halloween, right? In America, it's like, you know, autumn, where the leaves fall, it's kind of spooky vibes. In Australia, it's like, haha, flowers, bumblebees, springtime.
And even right now, it's basically polar opposites. I know there's a snowstorm happening in Japan right now.
Oh.
And
Oh, yeah, there is.
and here you are, also boiling alive.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, in one place could be like snowstorming, another place it's like you're roasting like a marshmallow. Could crack an egg on my forehead, it'll probably boil.
Oh dear. Now, you actually sent me a bunch of photos of different things. Actually,
Yeah.
the first you sent me was talking about the movies and anime that one of your favorite cards, one of the earliest cards you had was this Ancient Mew card that you actually got from that video store. I have this one as well, absolute classic that I remember getting it from the second movie, but I could fully believe that either the distribution was different in Australia, because I don't remember off the top of my head, like if the first movie in particular, because when you get earlier on, that's when release by market was much more fragmented, and I don't know if like Australia potentially got the first movie like a year later, so maybe that's when they had these cards being produced for the second movie as it was being released in Japan, so they just sent the second movie cards to Australia or something like that, or maybe they were leftovers, but that this card, one way or another, found its way into your possession, and you still have it today in the plastic wrap, you said.
Yeah, I have it in plastic in my binder, front page. It is my baby. It is my favorite Pokemon card I own. It's so pretty. Pictures really don't do it justice. It's like the prettiest
foiling
Pokemon card
on this.
I've ever seen. Like, it's got like this mirror effect with all of the like speckle hollows, and then the color shift. It's so pretty.
I always wish they printed more cards with this style. That I guess the fact that it's not in any actual known language makes it difficult, and people have translated and figured out, all right, this means that, and sort of reverse engineered the alphabet on this. And yeah, you can't make a full set of these, but there's so many different variant art things. I feel like you could have in a given set one variant of cards be this style.
I mean, older cards in Pokemon TCG did have a lot of that speckled hollow look. It's actually one of my favorite holographic card looks.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, no, I mean like using the language, like the runic language and like the overall art style, not the foiling style. Sorry, my bad there.
Oh, good. So actually, the card itself is readable. It actually does have like proper, it says how much energy you need to use for the attack and all that. The problem is that it's not legal to use in a proper tournament because it can't be read easily. You can know what it says, but if it doesn't actually say in English, you can't use it, sadly.
But that's why I think having it as a variant would work, because then there's no existing English or Japanese variant of this Ancient Mew card that can be used as a reference, that people know is the official tournament legal text. But if you have this as a variant where there's the normal rare, there's the holofoil, where it is English, Japanese, other languages by market, but that you have as a variant this version, but that everybody knows legal text because it's also printed on a bunch of other of the same cards in the same set, is that something viable?
Probably. I mean, I think there is a card that has the same information on it in English. It's not the same card, it doesn't have the same artwork, but it has like the same skill and energy uses and stuff. I'm pretty sure I can't remember which card it is, but I'm pretty sure there is one that does have the same. If I remember correctly.
And you mentioned to me that you collected a lot back in the day, but then actually got into playing the card game proper. And that you had a favorite deck where you used this Diancie EX and Mega Diancie EX to basically make a rogue deck in a very oppressive meta.
Yes. So when I was playing the TCG, there was a lot of decks were built around meta, and of course EX cards were the thing, the big heavy hitters. My deck, my beautiful Diancie deck, was the EX card killer, basically, because if I could get Mega Diancie out, basically EX cards became useless. No one could fight against it, and she was too strong to kind of like kill with a normal card. So by the time you tried to do anything against it, it was too late. That's like how I found at least. I mean, if you reversing against something like Night March, which was the most horrible thing ever to verse against back in the day, then it was probably not good because again, like it really depends on getting Mega Diancie out onto the field. But I had other cards in the deck, which was I had Xerneas. I can't remember what Xerneas did. It's been a while. I think it was another one of my heavy hitting cards, and I also had Sylveon, which had an attack that increased 50 damage every turn, as well. So those were in case can't get Diancie out. Those were what I used in the meantime. And then I remember I had Aromatisse in the card deck as well, and I can't remember if that was moving energy to different Pokemon or if it was I know it was something to do with energy. I'm pretty sure it was like to let me move energy to different cards. I'm pretty sure. I'd have to look at my deck again. It's been a while since I've played with it. Like I haven't played that deck since it was like 2018, no, 2017. Yeah. But this was my baby, and no one else was using this deck. It was completely a creation of my own. It was not meta, but it was how I could play because I did not have the money to afford meta stuff. It was too expensive.
Those who might not be able to read that I have the card here, but Mega Diancie EX's Diamond Force attack says, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to each of your Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. So it basically just turns off everything in that meta. And Night March I had to actually look up, but that it was a couple Pokemon that had the attack called Night March, which is how the deck got its name. And this attack does 20 damage times the number of Pokemon in your discard pile that have the Night March attack. So if you are able to churn through your deck very quickly and get a bunch of things into the discard pile, according to Bulbapedia, means that you could hit opponent's Pokemon for up to 220 damage without other card effects, given that at least one of the Pokemon is in play. And that is incredibly impressively powerful. So
yeah, it was literally so easy to get it done too. Like if you didn't, it was basically a 2-turn kill, sometimes 1-turn kill. Like if you couldn't stop them, bam, dead. You couldn't do anything about it. It was the most unfun thing to play against, next to whales giving their children their expensive decks.
Yeah, you mentioned that too. And I said that it's so cool that we're now at a point where, since we are a full human generation into Pokemon, that's something that you wouldn't see in the early years because the parents didn't grow up with Pokemon. But now that there are parents that did, it's not particularly good that you have young children being bought potentially very expensive competitive decks. At the same time, that is also kind of cool because for that kid, it's like it's a neat memory growing up of, okay, yeah, my parents taught me how to play Pokemon TCG, and that using it as a learning tool of strategy and calculation and reading and math, and that they bought me the deck that I use, and they weren't allowed to help me at the tournament, but since they had taught me, it meant that I was able to go really far as even a 10-year-old, and just like in the anime. And that's cool and also really disturbing in its own regard. I'm a little bit torn on it.
I mean, it is cool. It is nice to see families doing, the Pokemon stuff together. But, like, man, when you're in a tournament and you verse against a 10-year-old who's got this big, beefy deck you have no chance in hell of beating, even if you manage to beat them, then the parents are also in the tournament.
Great, I just beat a 10-year-old. That they have age brackets in high-level competitive for that exact reason. But, if you're going to a local level tournament, I'm assuming they're not going to, and that's where you run into those situations of, I've been paired against an 8-year-old.
I mean, I would feel bad. I would feel bad beating the 10-year-old if the 10-year-old wasn't getting cocky and just, so used to winning, and then,
If anything, I feel like seeing a younger kid with a just really expensive deck like that makes it more comfortable, because then, all right, they know what they're doing and that they have been furnished with this very powerful deck. It's a lot more awkward if you're sitting across the table and this kid has no sleeves on his cards and you can tell that he bought a starter deck, or it's just, cobbled together stuff with booster packs, and that there's no cohesive strategy. They play their basic Pokemon out, attach an energy, say go. It's like, that's when it's awkward.
Yeah, now if I see you roll up to a tournament and you do not have sleeves on your cards, I will officially file a complaint and then set fire to your house. Might as well, as cards are gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, I grew up back in the day when we played our cards right on the pavement of the schoolyard, no sleeves. Back in the day, they didn't sell card sleeves. Like, it wasn't a thing yet.
True. Makes you wonder how so many of the old school cards survived that,
The ones that survived were the ones that weren't played, were the ones that were not actually owned by children, in my opinion. That any of those base set PSA 10 Charizards floating around were not owned or cherished by children. That they were bought by collectors or speculators early on, or they were in boxes that were in storage units and forgotten and then refound a decade later. But anytime I see a base set, early set Pokemon card that is scuffed up to all hell, I look at that and say, that card was loved. That card was used. That card is part of someone's memories. It doesn't matter if it's, beaten up, because, like I said, back in the day, putting your cards in sleeves wasn't a thing. It just didn't exist. It wasn't a product that was distributed. So if it has that damage, it means that there was a kid that went out and, was playing with his friends on the playground or, kitchen table, what have you, and that's what they're for.
Do you want to hear a story about a damaged card?
Please, oh dear. Now, this could be one of a couple
It's a
directions.
wholesome one. It's a wholesome one.
Okay, good. The way you were speaking, I was also scared. I was like, oh no, is this going to be about a really nice card, like, being put through the washing machine or something?
So, was that, my friend was doing a tournament at the time, and I was there. I wasn't playing though, but I was looking at, because we're at a card store, and the card store had like binders full of cards and stuff that you could buy. And I was going through their binders, and I see this like old school Hollerg Valplume card, but it's like super beat up, and it's peeling, and it's been not very well loved. And like, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna blame the ADHD on this one, perhaps. I don't know. But it's like, I'm looking at this card, and I'm like, no one's gonna take you home, so I might as well take you home. You're my card now.
Aww. And hopefully it was priced appropriately, given the damage.
It was given to me for free. They were like, "Are you sure you want this card?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want it. It's mine now." And I still have that card in my binder with my other old school cards.
Aw, yeah.
It's like a weird concept. Just like you feel bad for like an inanimate object, but it's like also another one of my prized cards I have in my binder. Speaking of prized cards, though, I have one more card that is probably rivaling that of my Mewtwo card for me, and that is it is my Y Schwartz Hatsune Miku card. The illustration is by her character designer Kay, and it has her signature from her voice actor Saki Fujita on the front of it.
Now, is this an actual pen signature, or is this one of the foil stamped ones for like the super rare version of the card?
It's the foil stamp ones, one of the collectible ones, but I have it in like this hard plastic sleeve to keep it safe, and I keep it on my Miku shelf.
And speaking of the Miku shelf, what I'm going to end up having to do is, didn't want to do this with just the cards, but in order to properly show the many cool things you have on your shelf, I'm basically going to make it the overlay for the stream. So It's going to look a little bit sloppy. We will still be visible. I've layered it such that the images will be behind us, but chat, actually chat's still above it too, so you'll still be here, chat. But the studio's about to look very different, so sorry, not sorry. Cool stuff on the Miku shelf.
Yeah,
we have
Miku
so much
shelf.
Miku.
There's so much
Miku.
Miku. There's the Miku Expo poster.
Do you remember what the first Miku figure you owned was?
Oh, I have a story about that. I mean, technically, it's, yeah. So, I got, like, birthday money one year for, you know, and it was, like, $60. And one of my high school friends, she likes to buy stuff on eBay. So, I'm like, hey, do you think you can get me a Hatsune Miku figure? And she's like, all right, which one? And I told her, I want the original Figma of Hatsune Miku. So just her in her default, you know, tie, skirt outfit, you know, like that kind of thing. She rolls up to my house. She says the thing has arrived. I opened the box. Not only is it not the correct Miku, it's her append version, which is like this kind of like white bodysuit version, but it is a bootleg and it was broken in the box.
Oh no! Oh, the accidental bootleg purchase is the worst.
Yeah, it was so bad. It was so goddamn bad. Like, she was literally falling apart.
Is that one on this shelf?
She didn't make it. She didn't make it. I tried to sticky tape her together. She did not make it. But, aside from that one, oh gosh, which one?
We don't even have everything currently visible. That there's still a whole bunch lower down that you can see. That this shelf, I assume, you know, obviously there are a couple that have not made it over the years, but this is the result of a decade, 15 years, however many years of fandom, of loving Miku.
Yes. So, yeah, the other Miku I can remember buying would probably be when I got at ARKHAND. It was a prize figure version. It was an official version. Unfortunately, that one kind of got lost in a move. So, I don't even know what happened to her. She just kind of like vanished off the face of the earth. But then I started buying off of Ami's pre-owned section, which was really good because, and I know people are probably thinking, oh, pre-owned, that's a bit risky, you know, with what people do with figurines these days. And you know what, you're absolutely right, don't worry. But Ami's pre-owned section was pretty good because you could get a brand new figurine, even if it was pre-owned, it was never opened, and they have like the condition of the box and the figurine listed on the website, so you could actually get something that was like taped up and all that, you know, still in proper condition. I have like some of the like really old Hatsune Miku figures. If you look where the pop vinyls are, a lot of my old ones are down there. I have the Chogokin metal Miku Figma. She's completely made of metal. I have the original Miku Nandroid. I have the Hatsune Miku Nandroid. I have the Feiyen Figma, which is a special version of Miku that basically looks like a Gundam. Yeah, like a bunch of them are in there. I have the special version of Miku's Figma that had the really weird long face accessory with it. And then the one to the right on the very end, behind the one with pink hair, that one is probably one of my favorite figures of Miku just because of how detailed. You can't really see it in the picture, but it's super detailed and just such nice quality for like the time it was made. Like, it's insane how detailed the figure is, and just, oh, it's probably like my best one out of like all of them, I think.
Yeah.
Not counting the giant scale figures on the top of the shelf, you know, because those are, whew,
very fancy.
Those are my babies.
It really is incredible how far, you know, just as everything has technology, animation, that figures have also just scaled literally and figuratively in quality to the point where, you know, some of these end up being what feel like museum pieces. Some of them are priced like museum pieces.
Yeah, no, these days, when I started collecting a scale figure of Miku, like, the general price for scale figures was like $130 or something. Like, that was the
Still
price.
not cheap.
Now, these days, it's like $400+ base. So, like, these days when I buy figures, it's usually Nendoroids and prize figures because I just can't afford scale figures anymore. The only reason I even have that big one up the top is because my friend randomly just decided to drop $500, $600 on it for Christmas. I don't know why. I didn't know until it arrived
That's a
at
really
my house.
nice friend.
Yeah. It would be nice to get more Miku scale figures. It is way too expensive these days to afford, unfortunately.
I like this one, the sort of chibi, X laughing, screaming expression.
Yeah,
You don't get this
so
on
that
enough figures.
one.
Just across anime and nerdy figures in general. Like, I want more of this on anime figures as much as I want it more on Miku figures. This is such a good expression.
It's so cute. That one's actually the jumbo version of Miku's Nendoroid. So the one in front of her is the normal size for Nendoroids. She's the jumbo size version, and her box could literally fit over my head and shoulders. It's huge. She's so fun to play with, though. She's like massive.
1 sec. Oh, it updated on the main screen where I meant it to. Oopsies. Studio mode, why have you betrayed me? Sec. Trying to get this done in studio mode, but... So, you have that beautiful shelf full of Miku, but you also have many other shelves and cabinets. And that... This one we have sort of... Initially, I glanced at it, was like, oh, it's the Kirby area. No, this is just the pink area because you also have Uta from One Piece. I can't quite tell what... Oh, that's Kirby, yeah, in the background there. But we have some Animal Crossing figures here on the right side. We have Splatoon here on the bottom, and there are other pictures that will show the full scale of that Splatoon collection. But I guess focusing up here in the sort of pink square, the Kirby and Uta square, and also I think that's one of the Neptunia girls, right?
Yeah, that's Neptune.
Yeah.
Or Nepgear, as she likes to call herself. So in this shelf, we have Uta, my waifu from One Piece. Absolutely adore that movie so much. And then, of course, we have the Kirby collection. We have Kirby's original Nendoroid, as well as the 30th anniversary Nendoroid, which is the one with the heart there. And then behind Kirby, we have the No Game No Life version of Sora and Shiro.
Yep.
They're doing like this
yeah, I
little
sort
pinky
of
promise
missed that
thing.
back there, but I see that now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got the Animal Crossing amiibos with the Isabelle Nendoroid, which is currently hidden, but it's there. You can see the little music note she's got there.
Mm-hmm.
And then below that is just the massive collection of every single Splatoon amiibo. I did it. I got every single one. Yes!
Was it difficult setting up the lighting, or I know that nowadays there are some that are just designed to sort of be stuck. They'll have like adhesive on the back and RGB lighting, but was this one that you had to really take the time to set up, or was there a more streamlined solution, I suppose?
So I built the shelf myself, and when it came to the lighting, I used a big long RGB kind of like rope light. It was a bit difficult trying to get it exactly where I needed it to, because of course you have like all of the hinges and stuff, and I have to make sure it fits, and like getting it in between the cracks of the doors and stuff to make sure that all of the frame can kind of be highlighted, because it's going around like the front part that you can't see. But I think I did pretty good with the result. It's really pretty.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy with how it came out.
Certainly photographs well.
And it makes my figures look so pretty. Oh my god.
That's really half the presentation. That, all right, you have these nice figures, but then, you know, even if you aren't necessarily going through all of this to build a sort of almost diorama exhibit style shelf here, that even ones like the previous picture of just I love seeing how people arrange their shelves because it's always very deliberate. That you had all those Miku figures, and that I'm sure you paired ones together based on either the time, the outfit, just aesthetics. That they become works of art in and of themselves in how people choose to actually arrange everything.
Yeah, no, it's really fun trying to like organize the collections and figuring out how to display them and stuff. I actually really want to redo this cabinet because it currently has a big bag rack in the way, and I want to I want to rearrange my entire room actually, just because like
this is over on the right side.
Yeah, it's like covering half of the cabinet, and I can't get into the cabinet, and I can't look at everything, and it's sad because it's such a pretty cabinet, and the lights like, the RGB is moving, like the lights changing colors and stuff. So it looks really pretty, but it's just a shame that it gets covered up by the bags a lot of the time.
Oopsies, accidentally reset that.
Set a new card.
But this next one we have actually sort of backtracking a little bit, that this one has a lot of your Kingdom Hearts merch, but I also see, I think that's
Black Rock Shooter.
Yeah, Black Rock Shooter, yeah. We also have some Banjo-Kazooie here.
That's Crash Bandicoot. You take that back.
I can't believe I said Banjo-Kazooie. I can't believe it's... Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Man.
Oh, God. No, what have I done?
The disrespect. The disrespect.
It's all
I told me your sins.
It's Crash Bandicoot, yes.
It's Crash Bandicoot.
And then we have 3 shelves of Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, yeah. And you know what's funny is that I have every single Kingdom Hearts pop vinyl except for a couple of the ones that came out with Kingdom Hearts 3, but I did get all of the main big ones. I kind of went on this was when I was starting to get my first paychecks, when I was doing some texture work for a indie company for a bit, and I kind of went crazy buying as much Kingdom Hearts merch as I possibly could because I really wanted Kingdom Hearts merch. So I got every single pop vinyl and all the stuff that EB Games was selling. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. But all the pop vinyls are not on that shelf. A lot of them are in a box in storage because I cannot display them right now. It's too many.
Do you have a guess as to how many there are in total?
Oh god, okay, hang on. If we're going like
we have to do some calculations here.
There's too many. There's too many. I think I'm only missing like 3 of the Kingdom Hearts pop vinyls. I have every single other one.
But then, how many does that add up to?
A lot. I couldn't give you a number. It's a lot. It's a large amount of pop vinyls.
And I feel like these are characters that actually translate better than most to pop vinyls. And I have sort of a love-hate relationship with pops. Certainly think they work more so with cartoon characters, game characters than human actor characters, just stylistically. But,
yeah, I don't tend to like pop vinyls very much. I buy them when it's media I like and if I think they look alright. Like the Kingdom Hearts ones I really like. The Cortex one up there actually, I painted his face because they had him he didn't have white eyes or anything like that. He looked really average with the black eyes for pop vinyls. Like they just didn't capture his expression, so I decided to do a paint over and I shaded in his teeth and all that to give him the iconic PS1 style Cortex grin. So he's really got proper eyeballs and stuff now.
I didn't even register that until you mentioned it, but then as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't just have the black dot eyes. And I can very much see, especially for that character who's 50% of his face is his eyes.
Yeah, it just didn't look good because his eyes would blend into his eyebrows, and then he's got the eye bags, and it looked horrendous without the eyeballs. I had to fix him. Couldn't do my boy like that. I am a bit sad that they never released an Uka Uka pop vinyl because I have the Aku Aku one. Where's my Uka Uka? Can't believe they did this to me.
And then we have...
I also have somewhere, I have a Crash Team Racing figure of Crash in his go-kart, but it's an incense burner. The exhaust pipes are the incense part. It's so good.
So I guess this is exhaust pipes, ones that are like on the side and then pointed up, not like normal tailpipe. Because I feel like
it looks exactly like from the game. So like they're pointing out the back and then kind of slightly outwards.
Yeah.
But basically you put like this little incense cone thingy in the metal canister in the back of the cart, and then the smoke comes out of the exhaust pipes. They also did something similar with Spyro's, and it would come out of his nose.
Ooh. That makes sense, because then even if you're using incense sticks, it almost looks like it's just, you know, the stream of smoke is the stick itself.
Yeah.
That's actually a really interesting product design. One that makes sense, because it's one of the few things of, all right, what can we use with this character that would realistically have smoke? And Spyro is going to be easier because smoke, dragon, fire, all that. But a creative design there points to whoever thought of that let's put this in our kart racing. Now I'm thinking, wait, why don't we have this for Mario Kart? They just announced, as of day of broadcast, Sony had State of Play earlier today. They announced we're getting a new Sonic Racers. I now want Sonic Racers incense holders. I think this works.
I mean, I think EB Games did a Mario one as well. I'm pretty sure. It's just novelty merch. I was too scared to actually try it myself, because like it was such a nice figure of Crash. I did not want to ruin it.
Yeah, you don't want it to get burned or discolored potentially due to the heat. Yeah.
I don't think I could get burnt because it's like it's a safe metal canister inside of the figure, so it would have been okay. But I just didn't want to like ruin it, because knowing me, I'm very clumsy. The fact that any of my collection has made it this far is a miracle.
And we have, we were saying Black Rock Shooter up here. Black Rock Shooter is very much a blind spot for me. I know of Black Rock Shooter on a very fundamental level. I know that, is it Taco? I forget the name of the artist, but that the artist from Black Rock Shooter has done, if memory serves, Miku, but has also done multiple VTuber models, I think including, like, is that Kiara's artist, or is that,
Yes.
Okay,
She's done Takanashi Kiara. So she's also, like, the artist behind Black Rock Shooter also did Steins Gate stuff as well. Interestingly enough, is so good. I love the way they do the eyes. So Black Rock Shooter actually gets confused a lot as being a different version of Miku. She actually has no relation to Miku whatsoever, aside from the fact that Hatsune Miku sang a song about Black Rock Shooter, which was made in turn to the fact that the character itself started off as a drawing that got really popular. It was just like, like how Brazilian Miku and all that gets popular, right?
Yeah.
It was a drawing that got super popular, and then it kind of took off, and they made the song like Black Rock Shooter by Hatsune Miku. She's had several animes, all of which kind of bring across this idea. Like there's like the anime where she's kind of like your inner self fighting against your demons kind of thing. So like, for example, what if you personified all your depression and anxiety and how your mind kind of battles against it kind of thing? So they kind of did that concept where like Black Rock Shooter and other characters in the series were like your inner self kind of like helping you through these emotions, and they have like actual battles with each other. So if two characters are fighting, their inner selves are actually fighting and trying to kill each other. It's a really interesting concept. They tried to do it, they did an OVA for it, and then they did the proper anime series for it. Then you have the video game, which I actually have on the shelf there, which introduced White Rock Shooter and some other characters. And then that one turned Black Rock Shooter into kind of humanity's last hope weapon against extinction. And then in Black Rock Shooter Dawnfall, they had a similar thing. Now, Dawnfall I really liked, but I will agree, it takes a really, really weird turn in terms of like story, especially with this one villain character who is literally just like this. He's almost like a Ken doll robot dude, and his entire shtick is that he wants to find a lover, but no female can survive mating with him. So he's like kidnapping all of these people, trying to like find a compatible mate, and then he goes after the the main cast because they're genetically enhanced. Like surely they are, because they seem strong. They can surely withstand him, right? So they would be ideal partners for him. It's very weird. It's a very weird series, but it's kind of cool. Yeah. It's the Dodgeball series is a strange one. I did like that it did take elements from the game though, and like while I do have the game like physically, I have the game on an emulator too. I actually have it English patched on the emulator. I haven't fully played it yet. I want to play it soon though. I would like to play it, but its gameplay is something I'm not used to, so I'm not sure if I'm going to stream it yet or not because I'm worried I'm going to be like really bad at it. But you know, it's Black Rock Shooter is a whole kind of thing to dive into, really. Like, yeah. And then right next to Black Rock Shooter, we have Miss Monochrome, which is an android that wants to be an idol. And she kind of like runs into this dude at a convenience store, and she's like, "All right, you're my manager now," and forces him to be a manager. And she has like this little companion that's a Roomba called Ruchan. It's a really quirky series. I wish more people would talk about it. She's also had virtual concerts just like Miku has. Not as large scale, but she has had them. And she's got her own she's not a Vocaloid, but they kind of auto-tune the voice actor's voice to sound kind of like that. They could easily make her into a Vocaloid, I think, which would be interesting.
And we have all these shelves, and you have a really cool room, Vox.
So that wasn't in my room. This is like where my DIY desk is, where I do all my like custom Pokeballs and stuff.
Well, you have a lot of very cool collections and shelves, Vox.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I try.
We also have this one here, which is primarily Pokemon, but we have a couple others. You know, we have a Needy Streamer Overload over there. A little bit of Miku down. Is that a Miku Sonic? Is that a Miku Sonic? That's not. No.
No, that's a Toonsy Miku. That was a special prize figure collaboration they did.
I was like, I don't think Miku and Sonic have done a crossover, but now I kind of want one.
I mean, I think they did a collab where they had Amy dress up as her at one point.
Oh.
I'd have to look into that though. But this shelf is mainly the manga shelf / DIY Pokeball and terrariums I buy. So like I've got a mix of my own Pokeballs I make and then terrariums I've bought from conventions. The game console terrariums are from a specific artist. I've actually become a regular of hers now, so like every time we run into each other, she gets super excited when I pop by. And she keeps trying to give me freebies, and I tell her, no, I want to pay for it, ma'am. But yeah, it's like mostly Pokemon and stuff on there.
Up here, and there was there's another Pichu one down there. And that's really neat.
And then there's a Game Boy one as well.
Where is that?
Where the Derpy figures are. Downwards? So, yeah, like above the Toonsy Miku.
Oh, there it is. Yes, I see.
Like hide in there. Yeah. But I also have the entirety of, up-to-date version of the Splatoon manga. I have the entirety of Alice in Borderland. I have some of Persona 5. I have some of Chainsaw Man. I'm collecting the Kirby and Animal Crossing manga as they release as well.
I didn't know they were making a Kirby and Animal Crossing manga.
Yeah, they're really nice. Did you know that there's an Animal Crossing anime movie?
Yes, well, that one's pretty old at this point. Wasn't that 2008 or 13-ish? It was a while ago now.
I think so. It's like, I swear, every time I bring it up to someone, they're like, they never know. So I'm actually quite happy you know about it, because no one ever does.
I've seen that one. It's very fun. It's surprisingly
so
deep. Like, they get into some real emotions in that one.
They do, especially with the teacup elephant character. Oh.
Yes.
And then the dude with his fish. And then the little
Yeah,
crocodile.
Wendell.
I love those characters. Like that. The anime made me love those villagers. Like, how can you not after that? Honestly.
Yeah, I was always surprised that they never made more. Especially with
Maybe
the
they will
series' continued
someday.
success now, that I wouldn't necessarily expect them to make like a full anime necessarily, but I think that there's enough to work with to have a second movie.
Especially with this manga as well. I reckon they could easily make one for New Horizons.
Or they could just take that manga and animate it. That I almost wonder if it may have been developed as sort of a with the concept in mind of, okay, let's make something and, we'll do it as a manga, and if this sells really well, maybe it's something we can have as an adaptation.
Yeah. I reckon they could do it easily.
I forget what these crazy, just large bug-eyed Pokemon are on the one above me. I've seen that's from a video, and I don't think they're official, but I recognize
they're
them.
designed by Omocat, the person behind, I believe, Omori.
Oh.
I believe they're the person behind Omori. There's a whole thing about them. So, like, I saw someone post that they got them on Twitter, and I was like, oh my god, where did you get them? And then they told me that they got them as gifts, so they couldn't tell me where they got them from. But then I went on a wild goose chase trying to find where to get these derpy-looking Pokemon figures. And, like, there's so many. This is the problem. I can't tell if they were ever official merch from Omocat or not. If they were, they are no longer on their store, but they do have stuff of them. Like prints, I believe you can get still. But I found these ones on eBay. And then these ones are, like, solid statue versions. But I know that there's, like, been like vinyl vinyl versions in capsule machines. My roommate actually recently found a bunch of them. In fact, he found Gengar, Eevee, I believe Clefairy, and Psyduck.
Very fun.
Yeah, I don't have them, of course, but they are definitely different material to these ones. So I'm not sure which the official ones. I'm not sure if any of them are even official. These could all just be made like by someone else from the artwork itself. Either way, I found them. I have them. I am very happy about this. Especially the Pikachu. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like that could be a toggle of just having eyes like that.
Oh yeah. I honestly, that kind of expression could work. I could make that, if not for the fact, this is my problem with the expressions. I have one eye. I can't exactly do like derp face. I can't do the side derp, like I've got one eye. It doesn't work.
And in memory serves, that's actually based off that in real life you are blind in one eye.
Yep. I am blind in my right eye, and I can see out of my left one, but not by much. So basically, my left eye is too strong and cancels out my right eye. Even if I close my left eye, though, like, if I close my left eye right now, I can barely make out anything on my screen with my right eye. Like, I can't at all. So, yeah, my right eye basically is just, fully blind. Can't see anything.
Well, the left eye is obviously doing enough work to allow you to design and make all these incredible things, and not just when it comes to drawing and 3D art, but also arts and crafts as well.
It doesn't help my posture. Yeah, no, I do custom Pokeballs now.
We have the ones on
small details there.
On the right or the left shelf, I suppose. Were
What's
the
the
first
middle
Pokeball
one?
So the middle ones are yours. The ones on the left shelf were purchased, I think, through the ones you said, or am I mixing them up?
Yeah, so those ones are purchasable. You can find them at most collectible stores. I know there's a bunch in Melbourne you can get, but I got these from ARKHAND. The ones in the middle are mine. So we have the Winter Doraemon one with his fancy dapper top hat and bow tie, which is my favorite one. They all have buttons now. This is an outdated photo, but they all have buttons. And then on the other side is my Decora Raichu. I wanted to see about making a Decora themed bowl. If you don't know what Decora is, it's essentially like, imagine someone just maximizing their outfit with as many clips and accessories and colors as possible.
Yeah.
That's Decora, basically. And then on the other side was my first Pokeball I made, and that was an experiment with an Eevee. Was very pastel, lots of cute little. I tried to like make it as like an evolution kind of thing, so there's colors to represent each of the evolutions. There's also like these little colored rocks. Yeah, so I've got these little colored rocks all around Eevee in a circle. It's kind of hard to see. You have to look from a top view, but each of them represents each of the different evolutions. So it's kind of like Eevee's picking what stone to touch to evolve almost. Like maybe Eevee's in the middle of an evolve thing with all the stuff going on around her. I don't know. I was kind of going for something like that though.
I like
and
that.
then I have, yeah. And not in this picture, but in the other picture, there is also a Charmander ball, which I was experimenting with. So I used like some of this kind of like iridescent metallic paper at the bottom, which was orange, to represent lava. And I wanted to try and make, because I've been using air dry clay now. I've been trying to like experiment making like these rocks that Charmander would stand on with like cracks that have lava coming through them. It was a bit of trial and error. I think I could do it better next time, but you know, for a first try, it came out pretty cute.
Absolutely.
You got a little bow tie.
Yeah, I noticed that we have the super dapper Darumaka, and then the Decora Raichu, but that even the Raichu has a little bow right over there on its right, our left. But I really enjoy that, and that the Darumaka in particular, just it's so simple but so effective. Of the bow tie and the itty bitty top hat, and what a dapper lad right there. He is ready for a night on the town. He is so freaking fancy, and he knows it.
He is. Honestly, like, I saw, like, so the way I do this is, like, I'll go into Kmart where they sell the little Pokemon figurines, and I saw him, and I was like, oh, I need to make a Pokeball with this little fella. And I went home immediately and started whipping up this Pokeball. I had to do the bow tie, and I had to add the little top hat. It just all had to fall into place. Like, oh, it just came out so cute.
Yeah. Is Darumaka a Pokemon that you've enjoyed in, you know, TCG anime or games, or was it really just you saw that figure and it didn't matter at that point? It was just because even the pose and the way that the eyes are, just it has a lot of personality. He's a little troublemaker.
Yeah. So definitely second option. He wasn't a Pokemon I was very familiar with. I saw him and he was cute, and I had to do something with him. Honestly, like, it was just a in the moment must do this kind of thing. But he's becoming one of my favorites of the icy themed Pokemon, because like, look at him, he's a round guy full of soup.
Yeah.
And he's causing trouble.
If memory serves, the ice version of Darmanitan is actually very powerful, or at least was when it back in Sword Shield.
Oh yeah. I'm not too
remember-
familiar with that one either, to be honest.
I
I mean, Sword and
haven't-
Shield was perhaps my first Pokemon game.
Yeah, that's surprising that you were watching the anime as far back as the first movie, but that it didn't actually get until Sword and Shield for the games. And that you were still playing other video games during those interim years, so it wasn't like you weren't playing games at all. So was there a particular reason that you didn't play Pokemon games, or a reason that you finally decided to pick it up with Sword and Shield?
So, I mean, I feel like most kids who grew up playing Pokemon probably had the Game Boys and, you know, all the consoles that Pokemon was on and stuff. I didn't really have any of those consoles. I grew up on PS1 and then went to Xbox. So a lot of my childhood was Crash Bandicoot and Sims. I especially played Sims Busting Out quite a bit. I played Crash Tag Team Racing, Crash Team Racing. Wrath of Cortex. So,
That adds up, and
you know,
it's why I sort of had the inverse, that I did not grow up with Crash, which is half the reason why, I accidentally misidentified Crash, and didn't really play Spyro either, but that I grew up with Pokemon and, Mario and other ones, because I was, until later in life, primarily a Nintendo console gamer.
Yeah, I feel like it's like what consoles you had as a kid and what your parents bought you as well. Because, I was into Pokemon, but my parents never bought me Pokemon games,
Yeah.
In fact, as far as anime games go, they bought me Naruto for PSP.
Oh no! Oh, for PSP,
legit-
no less. It wasn't even the PS2 or 3. It was the PSP. Oh.
Honestly, PSP was a really good console. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good. But this was during my phase in high school where I was like super into anime and Kingdom Hearts, and I guess they were like, yes, anime. We're going to buy every single one of this game we can find. So they would
So that's very
games,
thoughtful
I
of
guess,
them.
and
They
just
tried.
They did. They bought me like every single Naruto game that they can find. And like I was watching some of Naruto at the time, so I guess I can see why. And the games weren't too bad. They definitely weren't massively my thing, although I did ship Naruto and Hinata for quite a bit. Like, they were too cute. But yeah, no, as far as Pokemon games go, I didn't get it until Sword and Shield came out and I had a Nintendo Switch. I did try playing Pokemon Violet, but I don't know, something about it just didn't quite hit like Sword and Shield did. Sword and Shield pulled me in pretty much instantly, and I completed the game all the way to completion, even through the really annoying twins that showed up.
Oh gosh, yeah, the post-game twins.
Oh,
with their absurd hair.
So much. Oh god, I want to get a razor and cut it all off and make them bald! I'm gonna do that. They deserve it that much,
I mean, they almost ended the world again.
Yeah! Like, come on now. Insufferable. Insufferable! But yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe I just need to keep playing more of Pokemon Violet. But yeah, something about it just hasn't quite pulled me in like Sword and Shield did. So I definitely think I'm more of the anime watcher rather than the Pokemon game player. I'm not sure. I do play Cobblemon though. I like Cobblemon.
Haven't played Cobblemon. I've seen the different Cobblemon streams and servers that some folks have made over the past several months. Definitely seems like a lot of fun.
It's so cute. I love that you can make like Pokemon farms and stuff with it, and they've added like fishing now, so you can fish Pokemon.
Now, if you picked up Sword and Shield, that means, I'm guessing, that your first Nintendo console was the Switch?
So, technically, no. My aunt had a Nintendo 64, so we would play a lot of Donkey Kong 64, we'd play a lot of Diddy Kong Racing on that. And I'd watch her play some, like, other games on it. She had a GameCube as well, so I watched her play a bit of the Sonic games, but I've never actually played Sonic games myself. So, there's that.
GameCube is basically
Sonic's another series
the only place where I played Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic is just a series where, like, I've never had the childhood memories of it, aside from watching my aunt play it sometimes. So, for me, it's, like, not as hype, but I'm getting into it now. I feel like I would like to, like, learn more about Sonic and, like, get into the games and stuff. Especially Grim, he's trying to pull me into all of the Sonic stuff. And don't get me started on, what's it called, Xenoblade? Don't mention Xenoblade to him. He will yap on forever. Oh my god.
Duly noted. I've not played Xenoblade either, but it is also one that I've heard of, and I know the fans are. Nobody is a halfway Xenoblade fan.
Yeah, no. He's full on.
But that.
Then again, that's like maybe with like anything I like there.
And along with picking up Sword and Shield, you also had to have inevitably picked up Splatoon.
Yes. So, people might get a bit mad at me for this, but I haven't completed a single Splatoon storyline at all. Not because I don't want to, I just haven't actually sat down and done it, but I've done tournaments. I play the online mode mostly with friends.
Mm.
The recent Splatfest festival, it was really like a you had to be there moment. And like I know you can still go back and access it through the amiibos now, which is really cool that they let you do that. But at the same time, being there during the event with the big finale concert with all the idols singing all the songs while you're doing the
They
Splatfest and
basically
everything.
did what Fortnite does, from what I understand.
It was a massive like festival basically. So and each day was kind of different. So like it would start with like day one I think was like morning, daytime, and then the next day was like afternoon, sunset, and then the last day was nighttime with the big final performance. And it was so good. I loved it so much. I have the Splatfest t-shirt, and there was, if you're a Nintendo Online member, you could get the actual festival wristband as well, which wasn't made of paper or anything. It's actually a proper like vinyl wristband that you can get. So I have that with my Splatoon collection as well.
I love that we're actually in an era where we're seeing these types of events starting to become viable. That we're not quite there yet, but between things like Splatfest and what you have in Fortnite, that we're this space for virtual events that I don't even want to call them virtual reality events because they're not, but sort of, AR style events is really being explored, and I think there's a lot of potential for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with that.
Yeah, there's like so much potential for this kind of stuff that we can do, especially like with VTubers and stuff now. That like I'm really keen to see what people come up with in the future for this kind of thing. Because like, how are Splatoon gonna top it? Like, if they make a Splatoon 4, how do you top that? How?
Have Miku.
It was such a cool event. Oh yeah, I had Miku. Hatsune Miku is an inkling.
Crossover concert.
Oh no. Actually though, that's like, I'm shocked that hasn't happened already. That's one thing. I'm shocked that Miku hasn't made her way into Splatoon, especially considering she's in Ninjala, which is very similar to Splatoon, but it's like ninjas using bubblegum. And I happen to have the Miku stuff in that game. Of course I do.
Now I'm thinking, would they make Miku a squid, or would they just have her be normal human Miku? Would they be like, nah, not a squid or anything, Miku is just Miku?
Lore-wise, that wouldn't make sense for her to be a human. But, I mean, if she was an android, perhaps? But I think keeping into theme with Splatoon, I think fans would like to see her as a sea creature. I'm not sure if she would be an inkling. I think people would prefer she was an inkling since she's always drawn as one. But if they could make her a different kind of sea creature, that would be cool. Like for me example, like if I don't draw myself as an inkling, I like to think of myself as like an electric eel character because you know my twin tails and my lightning and stuff.
Yeah.
I like how creative they get with the designs, especially like that one character that got really popular in Splatoon 3. She's a sea anemone. She's the one with the drooly face and the kind of like dreadlock jellyfish-like hair.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know. Yeah. So she's a sea anemone.
Yeah. I think you're right that if they made her something that wasn't a unique sea creature, it would have to be an inkling. That she would be the protag style essentially.
I can't imagine she'd be an octoling.
No, I don't think they would take that route. That they could maybe do that if it was a broader Vocaloid crossover and they had others, that I could see them making Miku an inkling and then choosing other ones to be octolings, but I don't think that we would see Miku herself as an octoling.
I could see Luca being an octoling, especially with her like Taco Luca kind of theming. She has like octopus theming already.
Yeah. Oh, okay, there we go.
I could see Len probably being an octoling, which would mean they would either like they could do like Rin and Len being either or make them both one or the other. I don't know how people feel about them being split off into like inkling and octoling, but like I feel like Len suits octoling. I don't know, that could just be me though. Rin, she's got Inkling energy, to be honest. She's Inkling. Mako, maybe Inoculing, and then Kaito definitely Inkling. That's just my opinion, though.
Come on, Nintendo. Hire Vox. She's
Make it
got this
happen.
concept. It's all ready.
I've got the ideas. I've got the knowledge.
And here we have,
Oh,
I think
they're
it
so
is
sparkly.
Marina and Pearl, I think are the characters.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad I grabbed these when I did. So I kind of went on a thing like when the festivals and stuff was happening and Splatoon 3 was ending, I was like, okay, it's now or never. I want to collect the full collection of Splatoon. I should probably get on it. And there's an anime store in my city that was selling like a bunch of the like these kind of sets of the Splatoon net amiibos. And I'm telling myself, if I don't grab them now, it's gonna be really hard to get them. Especially because there was 2 amiibos that were really irritating for me, and it was the purple Inkling boy and the orange squid. I couldn't find them anywhere, and wherever I did, the purple Inkling boy, literally good luck to anyone. Good luck. I'm lucky I even managed to get him at all.
Is there a reason that one is
there's
harder
no
to
listings.
find? Was it?
Because they're so
Did they
old.
produce less? Oh, it was an older one.
So this was like the first Splatoon amiibo set, and they were the alternate colors.
Oh.
So they had the lime green Inkling girl, they had the purple Inkling boy, and the orange squid. And they were like, if you found them, you could get them at the time. I'm not sure how mass produced they were. I don't know if they were produced as much as the main ones, but yeah, they're so hard to find these days. Especially the purple boy, like, oh my god. Like, I went to like all the secondhand stores I could find. I was looking on eBay. I was looking at any listing I could find. It's just, yeah, he's so hard to get your hands on.
When you're playing, do you have a favorite weapon or strategy?
I am a brush user. I like to use paintbrush and smack people around with it. I like the speed you get with it. And my strategy is usually ambush style, kind of. What I'll do is, if I'm not mass inking up the area as much as possible, I try to like creep up behind people, jump out and slap them before they can react to me. That's when it works though. I'm not too good at the game, but like when it works, it works.
Yeah. And then we have one more picture with it's the same collection, but this time without all the backlighting that you can see all the
Yeah, I
pyramids.
believe this is all of them, I think.
Count a little over 20 at
I also have the Smash Bros. Inkling girl in there as well. Had to count her in there.
Yep, nope, still counts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite one among the bunch? I know it's a very difficult question to ask.
Oh, it is difficult. It is difficult. Although I have to admit, the little buddy one is so cute. That's the little chicken fish dude with the blue splat. He's so cute, and I love the way that they did the salmonoid eggs on it as well. Just that one is probably one of my favorites. Aside from that, it would probably be my Callie and Marie original idol outfit ones.
Yeah. Because I played the demo for Splatoon when it first got announced, and it was really neat, and I enjoyed it. But that was one that just I didn't actually end up picking it up. Never really got into it. But it's one that has always felt much more accessible. I'm terrible at shooters and just arena fighters and everything like that. But Splatoon has always felt like something that I could pick up and not necessarily be top tier in a weekend, but that I could play and from the get-go actively contribute to my team, be not the MVP, but not dead weight. That if you were to put me on a team and have me play Call of Duty, I will be dead weight on that team. I'm just a sitting target. And will I be more likely to get killed a little bit more than average in Splatoon? Yes, but whereas in Call of Duty and whatnot, in order for me to be a contributing member of the team, I need to get kills on the enemy team. which is extremely difficult. Whereas in Splatoon, I can sort of, hang back in the base and, okay, I'm going to let the other folks keep protecting and, be more difficult to kill. And I can keep these areas painted or go around and get some of the, more distant pockets of things or help push if we're being more aggressive. And even if I never get an actual kill on the enemy team, I'm still adding to our paint. And I very much like that system because it makes it more accessible for folks like me.
I think for me, like, the best memories in Splatoon is just logging on with friends in battle mode and just, like, doesn't matter if we get absolutely floored by the enemy team, we're having a good time. Like, that's my favorite time in Splatoon. I would like to do the story mode, and honestly, I do hope that they make the first game accessible again for people who don't have the Wii U, because, I never got to experience the first game, unfortunately, because I didn't have a Wii U.
Don't worry, many people didn't have a Wii U. It didn't sell well.
They should re-release the first game, in my opinion. I think that's very important.
Making sure we didn't miss any photos that we had. Yeah. There we go. We've already actually been at it for 3 hours. When
it's been 3 hours?
Yep. Surprise!
What do you mean we have been yapping for 3 hours?
I told you that my shows can go, like, 3-ish hours on average, and that's when we potentially stop ourselves, and that,
Well,
time flies when you're having fun. Like, I didn't even get to ask you about No Straight Roads. We barely mentioned things like Animal Crossing. The new Sims game is out, and I know you had a small rant on The Sims, so, if you want to hype up the new Sims release, please, by all means.
Oh, boy, here we go, fellas. Put Sims 4 away right now, because Sims 2 is out, baby, and you better start playing it, because, my God, it's such a good installment to the series. And, like, listen, okay? Listen, it's not even just the fact that Sims 2 was, like, such a good life sim on the PC, but if you played Sims 2 on any other console, right? Like, if you played on PSP, it's a 3D adventure game. If you play on the DS, it's also a 3D adventure game, but different story. If you played it on just wherever, like, there's even one on the Game Boy, which is entire. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how each iteration of The Sims 2 is different and so quirky and fun. And, like, Sims 2 had so many, like, little details that the other games don't have. For example, Sims 4 players, we have cars. We have cars in The Sims 2. Not only do you have cars in The Sims 2, but your car pulls out of the driveway. There's, like, roller doors that you can have for the garage thing. And you can build your own car. You can even paint it and make it look like a Hot Rod Mustang kind of Vin Diesel-worthy car. It's pretty cool. You can, like, go to the grocery store and actually buy groceries. Like, take them out of the cabinet cooler thingy, and you go to the cash register and you pay with your little credit card, and you take your bag of groceries home and you put it in your fridge. You don't do that in the other games. And then if you need clothes in the game, you can't just go to the closet and have a full creative sim access. You actually have to go out and buy clothes at the clothing store. There's just all these little details in The Sims 2 that just make it so immersive and fun and aren't in any of the other games. Sims 4 is a shell in comparison, and I will die on that hill.
A solid argument. I've not played any Sims games to any significant degree, so I don't actually know. But I saw somebody playing, I'm pretty sure it was The Sims 2, because that just released recently, correct?
Yeah, it got re-released as well as The Sims 1. You can buy the entire collection of each game on Steam.
And for me, that I don't even say I grew up on Animal Crossing, because I am older. I'm older, which is to say I'm beyond the years of 30. So I'm ancient.
Oh, no,
I remember the old
40s.
days. No, no, I'm not that old. but I'm a little bit past 30. And that I remember being on the schoolyard when Pokemon first came out. I was still in elementary school at that time, but I was target demographic for Pokemon. Animal Crossing didn't come out until I was in middle or high school. No, it was middle school. It was definitely middle school, yeah. But that I played, the technically second Animal Crossing game, the first one that made it to the US on the GameCube, and have played each one since, and it is still very near and dear to my heart. The inspiration for Vtuber Talk came from somebody who ran a talk show in their Animal Crossing basement.
Wait, that's so cool!
It was called Animal Talking, and it was run by a guy named Gary Whitta, who is a Hollywood writer best known for Star Wars Rogue One and Book of Eli.
That's so cool. I love that. I love the creative things people do with Animal Crossing.
It was partially because he did that in early 2020 when real talk shows were pausing briefly because they had to go remote.
Oh.
But that by the end, he was getting front page of Twitch. He had Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox. He had Josh Gad, Matt Mercer, Selena Gomez, Simu Liu, actress for Captain Marvel, Poof, Envy Adams and Scott Pilgrim. And
damn.
Can't remember what her name is. I feel really bad now. It's going to hit me in a minute. But anyways, he had a lot of really big celebrities on, and that it became the inspiration for mine, to the point where when I had this background design, you will notice there's a little notch missing in the leaf to your left. That was a specific request by me. It was like, I want there to be an Animal Crossing reference on my background, because plants on the talk show set are always there. There's always the plants in the talk shows. It was like, this is great. Can you take a small circle out of one of those leaves?
How did I not notice that?
It's so subtle. Nobody notices it.
I'm a fake fan. I'm a fake fan.
Because it's not like the full Animal Crossing shape. That the Animal Crossing has a very distinct shape to it, and that leaves sometimes have imperfections, little holes in them, so that I very much wanted it to be something subtle. But yes, it is there.
Yeah. Might I say, this is a very nice setup you have. Very, very, very nice. And like, can I just gush about your VTuber character for a second? Like, the concept of a talk show having like a little mic in his little tuxedo talk show outfit. Like, that is so creative.
It took me 3 years to get this. Here's the thing, Vox. The big secret to all this, I'm terribly uncreative. I'm so uncreative that for the first 3 years of this show, I didn't have a model. I was a disembodied voice because I didn't have a concept at all. The way that this little guy came about, this was supposed to be a mascot. That one of the goals in my second anniversary charity marathon was to design a mascot. It wasn't even a goal I thought of. We raised so much money that I ran out of goals. So I asked chat, I said, hey, think of something. What do you all want? I'm very agreeable right now. We've raised $6,000 for charity. If we raise $7,000, what would we do? And somebody said, make a mascot. I was like, sure, fine, great. I'll commission Smart. Sounds good.
Bet.
So to think about, what would a mascot be for a talk show? It's not going to be a dog. It's not going to be a lion. It's not going to be an animal. It was very clearly, in my mind, always going to be a microphone for the little mascot. And
it's such a cute design.
But the mascot wasn't going to be a model. It was just going to be, here's a piece of art that I commissioned. This is the VTuber Talk mascot, Neato. But when I got the image back, I knew in the back of my mind, I sort of told myself, there's a chance that this mascot could become a model. A non-zero, but like probably not. Like 10% chance. I'm probably gonna look and be like, that's a cute little model. That's fine, but that's a cute little mascot. It's not gonna be a model for me. But when I saw the guy, I was like, oh no. I do see it. I see it now. So I went back to the artist and say, hey, so you also do rigging. Can I upgrade this commission? Here's the money, paying up front, right here. Congrats, you succeeded so much. I would like to commission further services now.
I mean, look, as far as VTuber models go, like, it's one of the more unique ones I've seen, and I absolutely love when people step out the box like this and make something that, like, not only fits their concept this well, but is just, like, something you don't really see in VTubing. I feel like a lot of people are so comfortable sticking to, like, you know, your usual anime. Not many people try to, like, do something as unique as this.
I don't even feel like I can take that level of credit for it because I wasn't creative. I didn't embark saying, okay, I'm gonna do a different kind of model. I didn't. The plan was not to make a model. It was just, okay, I could see this little guy. I could see operating him, and that it worked out because even to this day, I have ideated of just like, what if I were to get a human model? What if I were to do that? I have concepted different things. I have not cared for any of them. Just human model in this suit and tie that
it's already been done.
I think it would be too plain. It would just be too plain. But also, you know, I'm not some fantastical creature, super creative anime character. But a microphone works.
But this is so cute though. Honestly, I think I'd prefer this a lot more than like if you were just like, you know, your talk show host anime dude in the tie. Because like I've seen that. What I haven't seen is a cute little microphone just in his little suit and tie looking all dapper, just chilling with his little talk show. It's adorable. I love it. We need more of this, please. More!
I've been very fortunate that the artist is actually someone who was on the show very early, CAPTCRABS. And he did just a phenomenal job with this, and that I do have the two variants, PIPSQUEAK one from Strawberry. Achoo!
Oh, he's so look at him! Oh!
And then the Wobbler model from PUMPIINO.
Oh my gosh.
And that
see, that's versatile. That's a versatile character right there.
And it's just simple enough because, you know, the benefit of working with my model for anyone who does art or whatnot, they don't have to worry about arms or legs or hair. That's a big benefit. No hair. However, they have to work with the stand and, you know, this little thing. But at the very least, it ends up being easy because, all right, the stand usually is stationary. You have the singular pivot point sort of right there at the base. And that... Fortunately, you know, the shapes very much by design are pretty simple. So, yeah. It works. But yours is also so fun and just like your hair cones. I want more people to have detachable hair like that. It brings literally new dimensions of expression to your model that others just simply don't have.
So initially, I did want these to like. When I get angry, I wanted them to like spin like drills.
Oh.
But I wasn't like my current software. I don't know how to do that. If I can get someone to like help me make that happen, I'd probably have to upgrade to a different format for a VTuber model. But if I can make that happen, I'm gonna make it happen. I want the spinny drills.
Well, brings a whole new meaning to twin drill hair.
I wanted a way for my model to express herself aside from just facial expressions, and like I already had the drill hair, like the little horn bun thingies. People think they're my ears. They're just hair. But I was like, what if I made them do stuff? What if I had fun with these little things? And then I started playing around with like making them shrink, making them stretch, making them grow and change shape. Like canonically, I would say my character, because she's made of like electricity and stuff, like I can literally shape my hair to be however I want it.
Because some folks will have like, you know, like if they have animal ears or antenna or anything like that, that there's plenty of folks that will have them connected to blinking animation that they'll move there, or folks will have different types of toggles related to their hair ears to an extent, but the fact that yours are so completely rigged to your facial expression, and then you have toggles on top of that.
Well, because I don't. So this is another thing is that I don't have that fancy iPhone tracking because I don't have an iPhone. So like I can't do a lot of what most VTubers in 3D do these days with the really nice smooth facial transitions that can track their full face and stuff. So I tried at most because my model has so many blend shapes. I took full advantage of the fact, and instead of just doing the basic like expressions, I made sure to use multiple blend shapes in every single facial expression I make to really kind of like have a lot of emotion when I talk and like when I animate. So I made all my expressions move my buns, stretch the buns. They move my eye in different ways as well to like really like give as much as I can with the limited tracking I have, basically.
And I didn't even think about it until now, but it also, I think, benefits you that since you have one eye that is static, that it means you go from having what would otherwise be really 2 points of expression, being your mouth and your left eye, to now having 4, which ends up being more than most have, which is the 3 of the 2 eyes in the mouth.
Well, this eye is actually supposed to blink. I was just having trouble with it with blend shapes because it would deform in weird ways. So I need to work on that more. But it is supposed to blink and emote with me. It's this problem like when I do like the happy eye kind of emotion, if I blink, it like still deforms. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out how to make it all work. Unfortunately, it's being a pain.
I can't even fathom the types of things that you and other modelers and riggers do. It is actual magic to me.
It's so much fun and so stress-inducing.
But also a lot of other folks like your model, that there's a lot of fan art of you, and you actually have, first off, you have a full website. Did you develop that full website yourself?
Yeah, so that was a card page that it started off as a simple card page, and I'm like, but what if I did more? So I ended up decking it out, and like I really like to try and incorporate ways to appreciate my my fans and followers. So it was like, what if I had a gallery to show off all the artwork? Because currently, to be able to look at the artwork, you have to either look at my art tag or my Discord, and a lot of it gets posted to the Discord. But if I wanted a central place people could go to and just scroll through and see it all right in front of their face with the names listed as well, I thought that would be a really good one. And I currently want to add a bit more to it with the new artworks I've gotten of my version 2. But yeah, I thought it was like a really nice way to like display and appreciate everything that everyone's made for me.
Do you think you would ever do commissions either for model design, rigging, or both?
To be honest, I'm not much of a person to do commissions. I used to do commissions. I had some rough experiences with it, so I'm kind of put off of doing commissions, unfortunately. I also feel like I just kind of want to focus on my own stuff. I'll do things for friends every now and then, but yeah, at the moment, just probably focusing on myself.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part of the second voltage that you think will end up continuing on that wasn't part of the first?
Oh, I mean, I like a lot about my second voltage, to be honest, but I think definitely the choker is going to be something that's going to stick around. I'm trying to make that like an iconic part, like like Miku's blue tie kind of thing. Like can't be without the choker, obviously. Can't be without the little hair spike bands. Also my battery arms will probably be a remaining factor as well. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I've got like
positive, negative.
I can get my hand tracking to work. Yeah, so I have the positive, negative on my sleeves, and then my rings are the opposite.
Oh, I didn't. I noticed the sleeves, and I noticed the plus sign on your right arm. I didn't connect the dots.
Yeah, I've got like battery arms.
Because I was just thinking, all right, shoulders would be a battery because you have one positive, one negative. But the fact that, yeah, battery arms, that's so fun.
So yeah, I've got the high voltage symbol. I've got the battery. got lightning bolts everywhere. I actually have a battery on my leg somewhere down there. Yeah. Cool the stuff.
You mentioned to me that the inspiration for your model's style came from a couple different sources, one of which was Panty and Stocking, which both of us are very much looking forward to Season 2. Trigger finally getting around to it after a decade and a half.
So my model design is, well, the body proportions are inspired by No Straight Roads, and the overall, especially for my V2, like overall, I was heavily inspired by the work of Hanabushi, who is the artist behind Kung Fu Piggy 1. I can send you a little bit of their thing as well. Aside from that though, I was also inspired by, you know, like Muse Dash, obviously, especially given the color palette. The color palette specifically came from Muse Dash. There it is. And then we've also, like, people also compare me to Clear from DJ Max Respect. I only actually found out about her after DJ Max. So I didn't know about her, but I get compared to her a lot. And you know what? Now that I have like seen it, like I definitely see it. Because like I used to play as her in Muse Dash, but I never knew who she actually was. And I wouldn't say that I actually got inspired by her just by playing Muse Dash, but maybe in the back of my mind, perhaps. You know, maybe I thought about it. I also get compared to the Inkling from Splatoon a lot. Like the Inkling female with the white t-shirt, and you know, with my old outfit, yeah, I guess I don't have Inkling tendrils or anything, but you know, I suppose so. I see it, kind of.
I feel like if they were to make, you mentioned the possibility of an electric eel. I feel like your hair is the style that they would use. It feels very Splatoon-esque in terms of the large stylized hair.
Yeah, I wanted... So, of course, I'm, like, going with the anime aesthetic, and that's where the Panty and Stocking inspiration comes in. But as far as anime goes, that's as far as I get. Because I really wanted to incorporate video game-like design, you know, with the proportions, the really stylized look of hair, and just, like, you know, how people... They focus on more, like, you know, big details that kind of stick out rather than the small intricate details you find in a lot of like anime video games. So, you know, No Straight Roads in mind, Splatoon, Ninjala, all that. Really wanted to capture like a video game kind of aesthetic for my character. And I'm hoping to like, I kind of want to lean a bit more into this video game aesthetic and try to like bring a bit more like video game elements to my streams as well. Maybe have some interactive elements. I think that would be super fun. Still figuring that out though. But yeah, definitely more of a... I want to look like I jumped out of like a rhythm game or a platformer or something more so than, you know, strictly anime.
Yeah. And I'm not actually familiar with No Straight Roads. I know it's a rhythm game. And I'm actually bringing up an image to show the style comparison here. But tell me about the game. What is the central concept for No Straight Roads?
So No Straight Roads is interesting actually. It's basically it's themed around music, and basically you have these two characters and they love rock music, and they are a band called Bunk Bed Junction. Basically, NSR is like this music industry company kind of thing. It's like a global, like you know, they're the big ups of music in the city, right? And basically through their music, I suppose, they give like they get like this kind of energy from performing, and then they give the energy to the town to supply it with like, you know, electricity and stuff. And they're all EDM because the company believes EDM is the future, and EDM is the only music that is going to make any like change or money, and it's like it's the only music that kind of like matters right now, and any other music is kind of just meh, basically.
It's like screams in the original Monsters Inc.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But what's interesting is that even though it's all EDM, it's different genres of EDM. You have the pop idol EDM, you have the funk kind of style EDM, you have the boy band EDM, you know, like all these different, there's even a classical music one as well. So even though you have all of these different sound, like different genres of music, they're all falling into EDM. It gives more personality to each of the bosses, I feel. Because it's like, you don't want to just burst EDM after EDM after EDM, because you need variety.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially they tell Bunk Bed Junction, your music is, you know, it sucks, even though it doesn't. And Bunk Bed Junction, basically, they want to fight back, and they want to, like, you know, have rights to have their music and perform without being kind of like shut down by NSR for not falling into EDM.
It's a very unfortunately classic tale in the music industry of the folks that are not playing the genre of the moment, that the record labels are not looking for because it's not popular, it's not the thing that everybody wants, and that they need to essentially prove that people do want it.
Yeah, and that's basically what they do. They want to prove themselves. They want to, like, and you know, they kind of like garner the favor of the public by toppling these giant, like, music industry individuals, and kind of like, it's almost like they're fighting for their right for music. They're trying to stand up for themselves, but at the same time, it's a question of, at what point do we become the villains as well?
Yeah, that when are you, if you become the mainstream thing, the big thing, are you now blocking other people who aren't playing your style of music?
Because you're toppling all of these people. You're basically, like, destroying them. So, like, at what point are you doing damage instead of doing good? And I'm not going to go into too much more detail because I don't want to spoil any of the game for anyone. But, like, that's the basic gist of it. And it's really fun. And I like that it's, like, you know, it's kind of like got that hack and slash combat, but also it's in rhythm. The idea is that you listen, and like all the enemies' movements are based on the rhythm of the song that's playing. So you should also try to get good combos by being in rhythm and focusing on the patterns of the movements and the attacks in rhythm.
Sort of like Crypt the Necrodancer.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I mean, you can move around freely, you can hit whenever you want, but in rhythm is the best way to do it.
You also had this other character design, which, funny enough, has the palette similarity to Stocking from Panty and Stocking, which obviously unrelated, but still kind of fun there. You also mentioned that you love characters with big shoes, and I'm seeing the consistency. Because the first thing that I thought of when you said that was, oh yeah, you know, one of, I would argue, the most prolific characters of the past 2 decades to have comedically large shoes is Sora.
So,
are consistent,
yeah, basically. Look, I like things, and I like to incorporate what I like into my motto, you know. But with Hanabushi, I really like, not only like the way that they draw their characters is a bit similar to mine, so I felt like it fit quite a bit. But also, I like that they draw the characters with like big shoes, and it's also like it's almost like techwear style clothing, but also kind of really casual as well, which really fit like the kind of vibe my model was going for. So I was very inspired by just like their designs as well. I didn't want to copy them though. That was a big thing. I did not want to copy any of Hanabushi's designs or work. I just wanted to be inspired by it, which is what I made sure to make sure none of the elements of my costume were anyway like too similar. The only thing I would say is anyway similar to any of their designs would be my leg warmers I wear. People think they're made of jelly. They're not.
So if they aren't jelly, what are they?
I'm going to like just raise myself up, so I'm gonna look a bit cropped here. But so there was an artwork piece that I saw basically, and the character had these kind of like see-through leg warmers with like this really cute colored outline of them. So I wanted to use that because I felt like that was like a really cute, like energetic kind of look, and it was something really like unique as well. I didn't copy the design exactly. I was just, you know, wanted something similar to it. So I incorporated that into my design, and then everything else kind of like fell into place around those, because like I designed the shoes after doing the leg warmers on it, and I was like, I kind of like where this is going. And then V2 just kind of like, you know, bit by bit after that just started, you know, coming into place. You know, we started like, it started with the leg warmers, then the shoes, then, you know, my leg design as well, going on to the outfit design. And I think the part that took me the longest was actually the new shape of my pigtails. It's such a detail you wouldn't really think would take a long time, but I just couldn't get a decent shape for my pigtails that I felt happy with. And it wasn't until I looked at this artwork that my friend B drew for me, and there was this little chibi of me, and I was like, wait a minute, I really like the shape of the pigtails she drew here. I really like how that looks. So then I ended up 3D modeling it because, you know, I wanted to see how it would look on my model, and it looked so much better than what I had before. I'm gonna see if I can find the little chibi in question. It's in here. There it is.
What were the
and I ended up
pigtails
modeling
looking like
the...
initially?
Yeah, I can show you that. Just gonna find the picture real quick, if you don't mind.
This is a really good chibi. Oh my gosh.
It's
so
so
freaking
cute.
cute.
I love
What
it
the heck?
so much. So that's V1. And do I have... I know I have renders of the other pigtails. I know I do. They're in here somewhere. This is why I need to organize my my stuff more. Aha! There we go. So before I went with these pigtails, which are a lot fuller and better shape, I had kind of like similar to my older ones, which were a bit skinnier. And I tried to like stylize the shape a bit more. The problem with the older pigtails though is that I didn't like how they looked in motion, which is the problem. They kind of deformed weirdly, and honestly, like when I was cropped from the, as you know, with people when they're VTubers, right? You're mostly cropped from the waist upwards, so it looked a bit weird because you just had these really skinny, like little lines instead of having the nice full hair that I have now, and I wasn't vibing with it. I wasn't too happy with it, which is why I kind of went with the more fuller look. And it took me a couple iterations to finally feel happy with it, but yeah, I feel like I did pretty good. I think.
Yeah, the older ones
the fuller
here.
pigtails are definitely a lot better.
And that you still had the working concept of still lightning bolt pigtails. You still had the split coloring and everything, but that the direction and the curvature of them is distinctly different. That instead of it sort of bowing outwards, that they are straight up and down, and that the angle of the bolt ends up being at that not quite as an acute an angle as you have there.
Well, I mean, so if I turn my physics off, they look a lot similar to the shape of the chibi. It's just that the physics make them heavy, so they droop
okay,
like this. But,
so
I felt like those ones in the picture, they're better in a drawn sense, but in terms of 3D, where everything is whipping around and in motion, they look nice in a drawn, stylized way, but not in a 3D motion kind of way. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it, and I didn't like how skinny they were. And I did try some suggestions, like I asked my friends, like, and they said maybe try flipping them upside down, see how they look on the other way. Maybe try shrinking them down, seeing if maybe it's just the fact that they're too big with your silhouette. And while shrinking them down did kinda help, it still wasn't it, in my opinion. So then I went, of course, with what we have today, which is, you know, these big poofy ones.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have a still image of these without physics on. I really need to organize my desktop. It is a mess.
Now you have the little battery cell on your left leg. Or is that not a battery and that's like, I don't know if it's a...
It's a snack.
Good place to place a snack. I guess. Well, I guess the question is that like pure unfiltered energy as a snack, and that you are consuming the energy, or is it that a container that would contain human food?
I eat batteries.
Just don't eat your arms. Don't do that.
No, they're not batteries. They just look like batteries. But no, I eat batteries. I munch.
Well, it's good that in the IRL sense, we don't have a very good way of recycling and breaking down batteries. We need folks like you to consume the batteries, please. Thank you.
Exactly. I'm just doing my part for the people, you know?
Environmental.
I'm doing my part for the environment. I'm eating all the battery fluid. Nam. Don't you eat batteries?
I've had them a couple times. They usually just don't agree with me. I get a bit of an upset stomach.
No,
Also,
that's
a lot
fair.
of static electricity.
But that's the best part, because then you can taser people afterwards. Well, I can taser people anyway, but that's not the point.
I shock myself more than others, sadly.
So true. I walk through the aisle of any shopping center and all of the shelves shock me for some reason. There's a reason I'm electric VTuber. The coincidences, I swear to God.
Now, this one, so I do see what you're talking about. Trying to figure out how to get this good size. There we go.
Yeah, so that's without the heavy VRM physics on.
Yeah, so they do still angle out without the physics. I see that. Yeah.
They are pushed slightly to angle out more than usual, but yeah, that's
One of the things. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say in MMD they're not as heavy, so they like flare out a lot more even in motion. What were you gonna say, sir?
I was gonna say one thing that's so impressive about your design is how well it translates from 2 to 3D, and that you have the 2D aesthetic that looks, in 3D motion looks completely natural, looks perfectly 3D, but also in 2D representation looks equally natural.
Why, thank you. I mean, I honestly, one day, if I could afford it, I think I would like to try and see if I have, if I can make or even get a 2D model. I just want to see how it looks. I just want to see what my model would look like in 2D, because the difference it could make. I think I would still stick with 3D, but one day I want to see what it looks like in 2D form. And I have a few artists in mind who could do that. It just depends if they would or not, but still. I think it could be a really cool project to try and take on at some point.
I feel like this reference here is honestly very close. That when I first looked at it, I was like, wait, is this 2D or 3D? And now I think this is a 2D, but I'm not sure. I'm very much questioning myself right now, Vox.
I mean, honestly, I didn't think my model looked that 2D. I was like, man, that's so obviously 3D.
No, this specific image. That the physicsless version of the second voltage model. That this one, maybe it's just the way the background looks on my computer when I don't have it up against the talk show background, but that at first glance, I wasn't sure if this was a reference sheet and not a render.
Well, I did my good job then.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It would be nice to try and, I want to potentially, if anything, I want to try and add some highlights to my bangs. It's just hard because of the separate textures. Even lining up the lightning bolt that's across all the pieces of my hair was difficult enough. But I would like to add a highlight to my bangs. I feel like it needs that because my pigtails have them. So why shouldn't my fringe have that,
Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer because we're already way past where we initially thought we'd be. But I do have a couple last questions that I asked all my guests, and
Yes,
one
sir.
is, do you have any goals for the year? That we're still pretty early on in 2025. You've had your second Voltage debut, and you did a lot last year. But are there any projects that you have that you're able to talk about, or any goals or things that you hope to accomplish here in 2025?
Ooh. Well, first of all, hoping to hit partner this year. It's been 3 years. Let's finally hit it. Let's actually get that done. So I'm probably gonna try and do a partner push at some point this year when I am ready for that grind. Because it's like you have to kind of do it for 3 months to actually potentially get partner. I reckon that's what that's what I've heard at least. But another one is there's like kind of, I'm gonna say it's a big project. There's a big project. I can't say what it is. I don't want to spoil it. But there's a big project that I want to undertake. Which is kind of, it's an event that I want to hold. It's gonna take a lot of work, and I'm gonna need a lot of help from people to do it. But it's something I really want to do. So hopefully I want to do that this year as well. Again, can't say anything on it. Top secret. Can't tell you. Sorry. And there is also another project which is not so good of a kept secret. That I would like to debut this year. Hopefully, when everyone else is ready. We've had a lot of setbacks, but yeah, it's another project that I started, and I'm hoping this is our year. So hopefully we can finally begin that. It's just a matter of, people who are involved moving house and IRL stuff going on, but that's all settling. So we're actually gearing up to finally, officially, even if it's the worst kept secret of all time, unveil it. So it's not like we did a panel or anything.
I will admit I don't know what it is, but I also get the feeling that if I wanted to, I could find out pretty easily by
You
looking
probably
through
could.
some older things.
Essentially, we were supposed to be ready before the panel. We were not ready before the panel, but I didn't want to cancel, obviously, because it's a panel.
Yeah.
So we did the panel.
And then once the panel passes, since there's no longer a deadline, the incentive to get it done
word's
quickly
out.
goes away. And then people get busy. And then life happens, and then oops.
Yeah, no, like the end of last year was pretty busy and intense for a lot of us. But we're finally getting it ready. We're doing it. We're doing this thing. We're gonna do it this year. I swear to God. So that's 3 goals this year. There will probably be more, but those were the ones that come to mind. Sorry to be so secretive, but it's top secret.
No
can't
worries.
tell anyone.
Just means that you have fun things in the works. Definitely look forward to seeing what happens. The last question I ask all my guests is, what does being a VTuber mean to you? And that's not the question of what is a VTuber, but we've talked a fair bit about VTubing tonight and all the potential that it has and the different ways that people interact with it. But, each person has their own individual relationship with VTubing. I've had folks say that it lets me get in touch with my inner child, lets me be someone I couldn't be in real life. I've had others that say it's a tool I use as an entertainer. And I like my model, but I don't necessarily feel a deep emotional connection that it's a costume I wear, it's a prop that I use, and it's super fun, and I love it in that regard, but that it's not quite the same interaction. So for you, HYPA, what does being a VTuber mean to you?
Cool. Wow. I mean, of course, it is a way for me to share my medium, of course. But I think it's a deeper thing than that for me in ways. Like, I know people say it lets you be someone you want to be. It lets you be your inner child and all that. For me, it's like, it gives me purpose, I suppose. It is something to work forward with every day. It's something to build every day. It's, like, I'm not someone who goes out very often. I don't have many IRL friends and stuff to really, my social life, very limited. And you know, it came at a time where things felt a bit hopeless, if that makes sense, especially being, you know, with my illnesses I've got and the struggles I face on a daily basis. And while it can still be hard, even with VTubing, because you know, sometimes you just don't feel well enough to hop onto a stream, but it gives me something to do. It gives me something to work on, strive for. It gives me a way to do things I never got to do before. It gives me something to like focus on and, you know, just again, purpose. You know, you're no longer sitting in your room just mindlessly playing video games every day. You're actually working towards something. You're meeting new people. You're getting to, you know, it's helped me confidence wise. It's helped me come out of my shell more. I've gotten a bit more confident, and I can be a bit more, you know, I feel a bit more comfortable being myself because it's helped me kind of come out of that shell a bit. And while I'm still heavily socially awkward and shy, despite how it might seem, you know, I'm getting better every day. And I feel like that's something that VTubing has done for me specifically. It's given me a way to feel comfortable, and also given me something to just wake up and want to do, instead of just kind of like sitting in bed going vegetable, you know?
I always ask that at the end of the show because while I never know exactly how someone will answer, the answers always make sense. And even just from the things we've talked about in the past couple hours and from the streams of yours that I've seen, that very much makes sense for you. And one thing that is so fun for me as a host, and also just, you know, as a fan of VTubers, I love seeing everyone's individual approach and the way that they embrace their model, their design, their own content, and that people always seem like they're having fun. Everyone always says, oh, my community is the best community, and that's because they curate their community, that you curate your content and your model and your own experience, and that it's been very fun to see all the stuff that you've come up with. Anytime a new video of yours hits my timeline, it's like, okay, gotta stop scrolling, gotta watch this probably 2 loops through, and those are always fun. I know that you have a lot more in the works, and I just can't wait to see what you get up to next. And I'm so glad that you took the time to be here with me this evening, or this morning or afternoon as it would be for you.
Thank you so much for having me as well. It's been really fun being on the show.
There is actually one last question, and it is a very difficult question, and that's, who would you like us to raid?
Who are we raiding, boys? Boys, we're raiding someone.
Yeah.
We are raiding, let's see. Well, I have someone perfect. Have you ever heard of Isengard?
Isengard. Oh, I accidentally, oops, I meant to give you a shout out. I accidentally started to raid you. That's not a good idea right now. Whoops.
So, let me tell you about Isengard. They are a amazing, incredibly talented professional voice actor with a range that is literally unfathomable to my brain. 1 minute, they're doing like this really high-pitched, like Kirito voice. Next thing you know, he's singing like Frank Sinatra. Literally can do Kronk's voice from Emperor's New Groove. Like, if you ask him to do a voice, he can probably do it. Not to mention, he's worked so hard on his new model, and it does kind of step out of the box. It's very like Code Miko coded, if you know what I mean. It's very different to what you expect with VTubers. But I think if you guys pop by his stream, you'll have an amazing fun time. I'm always happy to pass on support for people like him who really deserve the spotlight and work so hard. And I want him to succeed. There's so many people I want to succeed in VTubing. I need to share the spotlight with them, I swear. Where are the love for these people?
I'm actually checking them on social media right now, and I see that they have a much more realistic looking model. So I see what you mean when you say Code Miko coded in a way. Yeah.
Very cyberpunk coded, yeah. But he's insanely talented. I definitely recommend giving him a raid.
Awesome. Well, we will be heading over to Isengard in just a moment. Be sure to let him know that Vox sent you. And again, thank you to Vox that if for some absurd reason you aren't already following her, just gave her a shout out, and that her socials are down in the channel panels and video description right now. If you're interested in more of my stuff, I do these shows usually once a week. Scheduling's been kind of hectic lately, so that varies. But all the more reason to follow here on Twitch, Twitter, and Blue Sky. It's just Vtuber Talk every place. I always try to schedule around the guests, so time of day will also vary. But hopefully you all had a good time, and if you feel like stopping by again, feel free to. And also, thank you, Yota Indy. You followed a while back and was so engaged in the conversation that I missed that. That is, I'm not a good streamer,
I do that
Vox.
all
By
the
all
time,
rights, I'm a
don't worry.
terrible streamer.
There is
but
no judgment. I am literally the definition of hyper-focused. Do not worry.
Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you to everybody who stopped by. Vox, well, here we go. We have the raid message. Vox sent us, give us your toes.
Yes!
Yes, indeed. So, thank you again to everybody in chat, whether you were here from the start of the show, found your way here, got raided in, or just sort of stumbled on, maybe you fell asleep and like, what the heck, how did I end up here? Thanks for sticking around for any amount of time. And again, thank you to Vox. Hopefully you all have a great rest of your day. Say hi to Heisengard for us, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.